Well, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today, we have a very special guest. Mr. Mike Blabac is with us. How are you, dude?
I'm awesome. Thank you.
Bro, I wish I had a round of applause.
You guys don't have that on the
on our other show, we have a round of applause, but I feel like I need to implement the round of applause on this show.
I don't need a round of applause.
I think so. Yes.
If
I could, I would if I didn't have to hold this button, dude. I would for sure.
You know what? I'm gonna do that.
You gotta hold
do
the
it
button
too.
and keep your chin up.
See how much work?
2 rounds of applause.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
Mike.
no, of course.
We've known each other for a long time, but this is going to be great because not only are you, a multi-talented person, with behind the camera, iconic photographs. I mean, literally before the show, I'm like, yo, to Stevie Williams right there, fucking Josh Kalis with the fucking tray flip, Koston back noseblunt. I mean, iconic shit,
Yes.
But I was thinking to myself on the way over here, I'm like, I don't even know, young Blabac. I don't even know, your skateboarding. Did you try to get sponsored? Were you skating? I don't even know any of that backstory. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I love it, bro. I love it.
Boom.
Perfect.
I love it, bro. Because a lot of the skaters, you follow their careers, but it's harder to follow the, filmers and photographers' careers
Yeah.
behind the photos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but everything good?
Everything's great. Thank you.
Bro.
Yeah.
I'm excited, bro.
I mean, hey, we've all shot with him before.
That's
which
right.
Is pretty
Yes.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Which I was
yeah.
going to say, you didn't bring my front nose photo.
It might not be up there with the
It's iconic.
Koston.
It's
and Kalis
iconic.
Bro,
thing,
it's
but-
up there, dude. It's up there.
Yes,
bro.
it is.
No, but it's funny because as skateboarders, we get psyched when we shoot with certain people, that you hear about throughout the years. You're like, yo, I went out and shot with Rick Koston today. Like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're one of them. It's like, dude, I went out and shot with Blabac. I hope the photo comes out. I hope I didn't fucking... I hope I wasn't an
I
idiot.
think the same thing. I hope it comes out.
You hope it comes out? But it's cool, though. As skaters, it's rad to, meet these guys that you see their names in the mags and you follow them and then you finally get to shoot with them. It's rad.
Yeah.
Really is.
So
Definitely.
I think we've shot 2 photos, actually.
Yes.
If I could, and there
We shot a few.
Switch front nose.
Yes.
Remember on the little
Yep.
barrier thing,
Yeah.
whatever that was? And front nose on the little down the 3 stair off the ledge.
Yes. Where was that at? Santa Monica, I think.
Kind of West LA-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, kind of like an abandoned building type
Yep.
deal.
How did you two even link up to shoot photos?
That I don't know.
Well, because I know you shot some photos with Jerron for sure.
Yeah.
We just shot
Yeah.
something not that long ago. I think
Yeah.
it might have been last year.
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
What
right?
was it?
Yeah, a heel flip over a bike rack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was it
Oh,
a girl
It
ad.
was a girl ad.
No, it was the weirdest thing because I was just like, we're going to skate tomorrow. And I was thinking, I'm like, dude, it's been solid 20
At
years
least,
since I've sent you that text.
Because Mike used to live in San Fernando Valley, and he used to live pretty close to me, and we used to go out all the time. So that early stages of him living in the San Fernando Valley is when I really got to go out with him the most.
Yep.
And since that time, it's been, like you said, 20 years since we've gone out and shot some photos. So it was pretty.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
How'd it feel to go back out again?
It felt great,
Yeah.
especially with Mike. It was dope. It was really kind of just reminiscing and really, kind of catching up.
Sick. That's so
So it was
sick.
cool to really get out with him. But dude, fuck, I had that fucking craziest face, and I'm telling him,
you
dude,
did?
I didn't like my face. Shooting still. I have my mouth all open. It just didn't look right. But he was, Mike is really good at this. He was just like, dude, that's your natural shit. It's just it is what it is. You can't
Your face
fix.
looks like that all the time.
This is what it is. You know what I mean?
Mike's like, I'm not going back out to reshoot that, man.
You know, it's just because I'm overthinking it, and I'm just I wanted to, be happy with. Not that I wasn't going to be happy with the
We're
process.
all our
but
worst
geez.
critic.
Yeah, but,
you see.
no, it was
photos.
really rad to go out with him, in that fucking big time slot that we kind of hadn't seen each other. So
No, it was since 98 was
Yeah.
the last
That's
time. Pretty
crazy,
much,
bro.
Maybe 99, but
yeah, I
it
can
was
say
like,
99.
yeah.
Did you shoot for Girl at one point?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when I moved from San Francisco down to LA, it was kind of pre tech boom sort of in SF, so the rent was going through the roof. So myself, Mike, Chico, Scott, Mesa, everyone had moved to LA at sort of the same time.
Right.
And so it was just kind of a natural like thing where just they all moved down, and so I just started shooting a bunch of photos for Girl, and then it just sort of happened. You know?
Wow,
Yeah.
dude.
So
That's dope.
yeah, and that was when you guys were filming for the chocolate tour.
Yep.
So it was just a year. It was basically like all of '98.
Oh, that's just 1 year.
Just 1 year.
Two.
No, I wish it was longer. It seems like it was longer.
It
Right.
does.
Because I shot so much stuff. And it was because I was having my son Noah at the time, where it was like this dim light bulb went off, and I was like, I gotta
You got to make
work.
moves.
I gotta actually like I don't need just enough for like weed and rent.
Right.
I need a little
You
more.
need
A little more than
Yeah.
that. So
Right.
I started shooting hella photos. And
Okay.
luckily I'm like, well, I have access to all these dudes and this guy and
Carol and
Koston.
and
Yeah,
Eric.
Koston, for
So I was just
sure.
going out like nonstop. I mean, there's sometimes I'd go out like 2-3 times a day. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
skating.
wow.
Yeah. With
Between, like,
different
college
people.
Sessions, yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh,
different
go say
sessions.
over
and
here.
yeah. It was-
Because back then, I mean, you're submitting to magazines, right? Obviously, you didn't like work for a specific mag at that time.
At that time, I had a retainer for Transworld.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because that's always been a big question is like, how do you get this and that? And it seems like back then you could make a good living submitting your photos around to these magazines.
Yeah, I mean, at the time there were 6 magazines.
And they were all wanted the dopest shit. So it's like
Did you find it
highest
better?
bidder or
Yeah, did you find it better to have a retainer or just to submit photos kind of randomly?
Again, expecting a child, retainer.
Yeah.
Like, money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but like they were cool. I mean, they just wanted first dibs
Oh,
on
okay,
everything.
okay.
That's sort of how it worked.
Oh, that's cool.
It wasn't like I didn't auction everything off every month. It was just like send it to Grant, and if he wanted it or didn't want it, and he knew, he understood the circumstance that I was in, where I wanted to try and get everything used. But again, it wasn't the same as it is now, where it's like you shoot something and like you have to put it out within the next like 45 seconds. Or it's old.
Yeah.
You could like wait maybe 6 months and like use it. So it was like, it was a little different back then.
Literally 45 seconds.
45 seconds. You gotta get that shit off your camera into your phone, or it's old.
Yeah.
Dubs, you're at 55. Oh,
Crazy.
Better not talk about that face no more.
I know.
Straight up.
But let's go back even further back to Lil Blabac. How did you even get into skating and stuff?
So little Blabac liked cameras a lot.
Even
Like,
little Blabac, like
tiny
camera?
little Blabac.
Tiny little Blabac, and it's like 2 inches, but tiny little Blabac.
I was a little bigger, but I still like cameras. But yeah, I always liked cameras, like always. Like I was fascinated by them. I
What
remember
age do you remember the age?
Probably like 6.
Wow.
Like going on like field trips, burning through like 4 cartridges of 110 film, just shooting photos of just random stuff. And
Wait a
just
minute, little point and shoots or like what
110 was like
yeah.
a format. It was a tiny little negatives. It was like a cartridge where it was like 2 wheels on either end that fit into a camera. Really crappy format of photography.
Okay, almost
But-
like a spy camera.
Sort of. Yeah, same
yeah,
idea.
okay.
But so I remember going on field trips and just shooting tons and tons of photos. And then my uncle, had a dark room and was a photographer and kind of like showed me, how the whole process worked. And then when I saw skating, when I think I was 11, that's when it blew my mind. Because that was the first time I'd seen like a fisheye lens and like the light trails and just the techniques that you didn't see in like an Ansel Adams book.
Right.
He's just like shooting a mountain, just like posted, like sitting there. When I saw photographs of skateboarding, it just blew my mind.
Magazine? You saw it at the...
I saw a
where'd you see
magazine. Like I met a
Okay.
kid who skated in an apartment complex that I lived in Michigan when I moved to Michigan.
Okay.
And then, it just blew me away. But, so I both got into skateboarding and I got into photography, but they were two separate things for me. Like I love skateboarding so much that I just wanted to skate with my friends, and I love photography. And not until I moved to San Francisco did I like marry the two together.
Oh,
Interesting.
wow.
Because you saw the magazines, you started skating, but you fell in love with the skating part and not the
I was a
Like
skate
it's
rat.
weird. Yeah.
No, I was a skate rat. Like I wanted to skate all the time.
Like
I didn't want to like.
You don't want to sit there with the camera. You
No,
wanted to skate.
not until the dim light bulb went off to where when Scott Johnston asked me to shoot an ad, and I was working at the Gap at the time, and we went and shot the photo, and it got used, and I got paid, and I was like, whoa. I was like, this is way better than folding shirts at 4:30 in the morning all hungover in the stockroom. This is dope.
This is in San Francisco?
Yeah. So, but not until that time. I mean, I occasionally would shoot photos of my skate homies in Michigan as a kid growing up, but not really like, you know, I wasn't like the dude on the session that always had. I was skating just as much as everyone else was.
Right,
I wanted to skate. I didn't want to like I didn't
sit
wanna,
there and
I didn't want to sit there and like.
Plus, all
mess
that
around
gear
with
is
the camera.
expensive too, right? The flashes and everything. You know,
Yeah,
it's not like you really didn't.
Yeah, I didn't really have all of that until I moved to San Francisco too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
After the Scott Johnston photo, or did you acquire stuff before?
I
that?
acquired stuff when I got there, you know, but like the most basic kit ever.
So wait a minute. If you're skating and then you get to San Francisco, how old were you?
19.
You were 19.
When I first moved to SF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're into photography at that point. What are you shooting?
You know, I had a darkroom when I was 12
Yeah.
and like just really studied photography, and I just moved to San Francisco to skate.
So
I didn't move.
We're
to,
not talking, but you're not talking like just like portraits or
just like
you know
lightning
city stuff.
or buildings or just like dumb shit. I mean,
Right,
again, I
right.
would shoot photos of my friends sometimes
Yeah.
skating, but I was mostly into like shooting portraits and like landscapes and just learning how to process and print film and just the whole process of photography. And I mean, I would sit at home and like, you know, there was no internet, obviously.
Sure.
So I would like sit at home and like read magazines, like pour over magazines and read books. Like, you know, Ansel Adams, like he had this book series called The Camera, the Negative, and the Print, just about how to process and print and like all these different ways that you can develop film and just different printing techniques. And so I would do all that kind of stuff, you know, or learn all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Sure.
Did you move to San Francisco, like you said, to skate, but were you trying to like, oh, I'm going to get sponsored, or was it just to
Literally just to skate.
skate?
I knew better. I knew I was like not gonna get, you know what I mean? I got to Embarcadero and I was seeing like Javante and Chico and those dudes. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna be a quiet dude from Michigan over here in the corner, skating by myself, just minding my own business and like just skated and didn't, you know, I didn't move there to try and be a photographer skating, and I didn't move there. I just moved there for the
Skating.
Yeah.
The culture and
just to skate, just because that's where Embarcadero was, and that's where Hills were, and that's what I just wanted to skate there, you know.
Oh, and you didn't like know anybody, or did you move out with friends?
I moved out with a skate homie.
Okay.
And then I got a job at the Gap with another basic skate homie from Michigan, and then from there, you know, after being in the city a couple months, I started meeting everyone. I remember Carl coming up to me, Watson, and he was like, "Hey, dude, what's your deal?"
Amazing.
Yeah,
I can
'cause
see
he's
Carl
like-
doing that.
No,
too.
he's just like the nicest dude, and being like, I don't know, I'm just like a Michigan dude from, you know, like, and he's like, okay, and like introduced me to Mesa, and Mesa introduced me to Scott, and then I met Mike and Chico, and you know, so I sort of met everyone in the city as a skateboarder, and then after a while, they were like, you take photos, like, why don't you shoot photos? And I was like, I don't know, as I like skating, you know, like,
Right.
And then like when I got, you know, I shot the ad of Scott, I was like, okay, this is better than folding shirts.
Which ad was it?
It was a Pure Wheels ad.
Pure Wheels.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And they mixed it up with the text with
What do
a
you mean?
Simon Evans Experience ad. So because it was the same company, so it said like it was Scott. It was Scott doing
shit.
it was Scott doing ollie over this like street gap, and it said Simon Evans Experience like Dalgart photo. And it was in Big Brother, I think. And I was like, oh, that sucks. But like, I got paid, you know, so I was like,
So whoever laid the ads out got mixed up.
swap the whole nine. You know, because it was like old school, like cut and paste, like or whatever they did. I don't know how they did it.
Didn't even get photo credit for his first photo.
Well, I got photo credit on the like not so good Simon Evans photo, but like, not saying mine was that great. Trust me.
What was he doing?
An ollie over a street gap.
Oh, I'll have a street gap.
You know, it was like he came into the Gap at like 2:00, and he's like, "Hey, I need to shoot this." I was like, "Okay." Like, got my gear, met him, shot it, boom. And I was like, "Dude, that was again, I was like, that was way better in folding shirts. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, way better in folding polo shirts.
And
like
how much did
$4.30.
you get paid for that? A couple $100?
I think it was
back
like
then?
$250.
Okay. Yeah.
About what I made in 2 weeks working at the
I mean, it's a
Gap.
wheel company as well, right?
Yeah.
And especially back then.
Yeah.
20-some years ago. I mean,
Ooh.
That was 25 years ago.
25 years ago,
a little
dude.
quarter ago.
But then you start probably realizing, like, wow, I have all these friends
Oh,
that
yeah.
are all doing their thing. Maybe I could just go shoot them, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So I was I'd written Grant letters basically starting in like 8th grade of like how to shoot photos. And so I wrote Grant and I
Grant
wrote,
Britton.
Grant Britton. I wrote
Just
Lance,
cold, like a...
just a kid like writing letters.
Wow.
Like I wrote Lance Mountain. And in that book, I have a postcard from Lance Mountain. I got it back from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
so sick.
No, and it's funny because in 2009, when I made my book, I took a photo and I texted it to Lance. I was like, hey, did you actually send this to me? And he was like, yeah, totally. That's my writing. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. It was
Like he had a secretary do it. Like somebody...
Send it
I don't know, maybe. It's,
Secretary.
it was a Bones Brigade.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Great. Hope you're good.
Yeah. So I had written those guys letters. So I remember when I moved to San Francisco, I called Grant. So I called Transworld. May I speak with Grant Britton? Got transferred to his desk because, again, no cell phones.
Sure.
And I was like, hey, dude, like, I live in SF now. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like homies with all these dudes and like skating with them. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to send you film. And I was like, whoa, really? Because I was like poor. So I, get
Film?
like 5 rolls of film when I was, he sent me like a box, like a proper. So I was like getting sponsored, I was just like,
Wow.
oh my God. Like, I just remember thinking like, this is insane.
This is money.
No, like,
I mean, yeah.
no, and he was just like, just send me, whatever, like whatever you get, just send it to me. So
Wow.
yeah, I started sending photos to
So
Transworld.
rad.
Who was a photographer up in San Francisco at that point?
There's a few.
Did they? Yeah.
Quite a few.
There was a-
Luke
I mean,
Ogden, wasn't he up there?
Luke was
Luca?
there,
Okay.
Gabe was there,
Gabe Moore-
Tobin
Gabe
was
Moore-
there,
Tobin Yellen?
Tobin, yes.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Transworld didn't have a dude.
They didn't.
Did not.
Not in
So-
that neck of the woods.
Not in that neck of the woods.
Was Grant
No.
writing you back?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, you would. Oh,
Yeah,
little pen
yeah.
pals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how
Cool.
it was like back then. Everybody would,
Right.
that was the form of like our Instagram. Like that's how people would get back to you. Sometimes with pro skaters these days, they do get back to you, and sometimes they get back to you in a time,
Yeah.
a long time.
Right.
But back then, they would just write letters.
That's crazy. When I was little, I was into baseball cards, and I'd always I would like get the address of the stadium or whatever, and I would send the baseball card
Amazing.
to get it signed. Usually I didn't get it back, but sometimes I'd get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent something to Willie Santos to like I forget who Birdhouse maybe.
Oh, there you go.
I got a little letter from Willie Santos.
That's
Yeah.
so sick.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
still have that Lance Mountain postcard to this day.
That's so
Damn.
sick.
yeah, from 1988.
So-
1988.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude, wow.
I love that.
Did you start meeting those photographers up there as well? Was
Yes.
there any like friction? Like, oh God, here's a new guy. Like, what are we gonna
No.
do? Like nothing.
No, everyone was
Okay.
so cool and so
cool.
nice. And the only one that Phelps would yell at me and call me Grant. He'd be like, "What's up, Grant?" Because I work for Transworld. You know what I mean? Which I took as a compliment. I'd be like, "Sick, dude, thanks." Like I'd be bombing a hill and just
Phelps
hear him
and
like
Grant.
Grant,
Right.
Like as I'm skating by, and I was like, "Awesome, dude!" Like, and it was like that's just how he was, you know. So I was
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I was stoked on it. I was like, that was such a compliment.
Would you remember like the second photo you shot?
So the first actual photo that I got, like a full page, was Ed DeVera doing a switch 5-0 in the
yes.
Federal Building ledge.
Damn, Edward DeVera.
And a 94 Transworld.
Wait, what was the trick again? I'm sorry.
Switch frontside 5-0.
Switch frontside 5-0 on.
The ledge out off the 3-stair at the Federal Building in
Yes.
Transworld.
I remember
In,
this.
in SF.
Okay.
Which one is that? The one across from Hubba? Or no?
No.
Which one is the 3-star ledge?
I forget.
Little
I mean, I was a
small.
skater. I didn't know streets. I just knew like Federal Building, and you know what I mean. It was the one that Carol had the Transworld cover backsmithing. Luke Ogden shot it actually in like 91 or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For my time.
I mean,
Yeah.
possibly. Yeah.
Sick. That's rad though.
Yeah, that was the first like full page.
in Transworld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, like that was, mind blowing.
Are you developing the film, or are you just sending him the rolls back?
I was getting a lot of the film. I would take the slide film and get it processed in SF, and the black and white film I would process myself in my kitchen sink.
How does that work? Because you have a roll of film you shoot, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Because you get it processed, and then what? You get the negatives back, and then you go and and do it. How does
you
that?
get all the slides back, and I have a light table at home, and I sit down. I'm like, all right, this one's all right. I didn't blow it on this one. Send mail, FedEx him, all that stuff.
The slides.
Actual slides. And then, okay, cool, we're going to use this. All the ones I didn't use, they'd send back to me. Then I'd send them someplace else. It was like, wow.
Okay.
Got 5 other options.
Yeah, it wasn't like, there's no airdrop. So
No?
Wow.
No, it's much more complicated.
No WeTransfer?
No WeTransfer, no.
You get them processed, but you still get the negatives back, and that's what you would then
Get the
process
slides,
too.
yeah.
So the slides. What are you saying, like the black and white thing? I'm very novice in this, so you have to you got to explain it to me.
So the black and white film,
Yeah.
I would process myself. So
We're
that's
talking
like
about
the
two
negatives.
different films.
Yes. Yep. Slide film's like color transparency film.
Got you.
That you like, when you see the photo and you look at it at a window and you're like, oh,
Right.
there's John.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
fucking-
right.
yeah.
Maybe his mouth is a little open.
Yeah.
He didn't like that either.
I like that.
So at home, in SF, I had an enlarger that I moved from Michigan. I had an enlarger
What is
in my
this?
back.
What are we talking?
It's about, I don't know, like this big.
4
big old-
feet?
It's about 3.5 feet.
3.5
Yeah,
feet?
it was big and larger. So I had that set up in my
The
bathroom.
fuck, you strap that to your the top
I
of your
didn't.
car?
I didn't move on a scooter. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like, I had a car.
Stacked up here.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Got an enlarger on the back.
Yeah, no. So I had a dark room in my crib in SF, and I would, I'd process the film, and then I'd go in my bathroom and print, make prints and send the prints with
rad.
slides, and
Big fan of black and white. A
Me
lot of
too.
your stuff is black and white.
Yeah.
So what's a draw to black and white for you?
I just like
The way it looks.
Yeah.
Like the feeling, or
Yeah, I think
because
so.
I mean I look at both. I like both.
Yeah.
Like the Stevie Williams, amazing, right? I look at the Josh Kalis. I'm like, God, that's amazing. Love to see it in color, but you know what?
Yeah. Well,
I'm
you ain't
content.
gonna.
I'm content.
Black and white film.
But I'm content. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing,
Yeah.
right? So
Could you change it after the fact, though?
No.
I know it's shot in black and white, but I mean, put it in a fucking program and change, like.
Oh
actually
no!
put-
People have taken that tray flip photo and
Right.
sent it to me completely colorized.
Yeah,
right.
And it looks
Wow.
amazing.
Right.
Yeah, you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
People have made paintings of it, got tattoos of it, all kinds of stuff.
That's so rad.
And
It's amazing.
I mean,
it's
listen,
it's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's gray sweatpants, black shirt. I could see how they could color the trees green, right?
No, technically speaking, not some of my best work, but like,
What do you
one
mean?
of my favorite photos.
How is it not your best?
No, meaning like I shot it with this color negative black and white film that
Okay.
had just come out at the
What
time.
is that? Color
Meaning
negative.
like, so I could take and shoot a black and white photo,
Uh-huh.
and I could take it to Walgreens and get it processed in the 1 hour photo lab across the street from Love, and go back to Love and look at it and be like, all right, we got it. And that's why I shot it with that film.
So you could know that you had it.
wow.
So that we knew we had it. Because Josh, he told me he did that, and he had actually shot that before with someone else, and it was shot kind of from the front, and it was just like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry whoever shot it, but it wasn't good. Okay. So I was like, dude, that's so amazing. Like, we have to go reshoot that. Because I had that photo, I had it in my head. I was like, it has to be from the side.
yeah.
You have to see the bump. You have to see Love. You have it. We gotta go.
Yeah.
And that's so funny because nowadays, click, look at the screen, we got it, right?
Yeah.
It's you actually had to use a certain film so you could go to the Walmart, get it printed, see it. Hey, Josh, I didn't capture it right. Do it again.
Yeah.
Like that. That's fucking crazy.
And that was instant.
No, that was
That's
pretty,
instant.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty instant.
Yeah.
And you could, I could have. I didn't have everything with me in Philly, obviously, to process it myself.
Sure,
Had it
right.
been traditional black and white film.
Right. Well, take us back to that day. Because iconic photo, like you said, people have tattoos, drawings, people have colored it. Like it is an iconic photo. What were you doing? Were you just in Philly? What was this? What's leading up to that photo? What were you doing there?
I started working for DC in March of '99, and Ken Block was like, "Hey, dude, Kalis is getting a shoot. You're gonna spend a lot of time at Love Park, like a lot." And I was like, "Okay, you know what I mean?" I'm like, "Sick. That sounds awesome." Yeah. So I would go out there all the time. But I remember he showed me, I think it was like a Polaroid or something that he had. I was at Ave and Dill's house, and he was like, "Hey, check this out." And I was like, "Dude, when do you go home?" And he was like, "I don't know, in like a week." I'm like, "I'll see you in like a week and a half. I'll be out there." And I would just go. I would literally spend most of my summers, 99, 2000, kind of 2001, in Philly, and that's why I thankfully I managed to shoot so much stuff.
Well,
at Love.
There's so many iconic skaters out there, right? It's like you had. It's like almost going to San Francisco again, right? There's like you have access to all these people at Love Park.
Well, it had started to dawn on me after moving from SF and then going and spending time at Love. I was like, oh, like this is probably something that'll be remembered. So that's when I really started to like, we were hanging out one day and I was like, hey, can I shoot a photo of everyone at the Love sign? And like photos of Kalis and Stevie. I'm like, hey, you guys, like, can you please, like,
right. yeah.
Were they into it, or were they kind of like,
no, they're always really
sick.
into it. Yeah. No, I used to bug Stevie all the time. I'm like, hey, dude, I got this new lens. Like, can we do this?
That's so tight.
This dude knows.
Hell yeah.
Well, sometimes people might not realize, like, you realize there was a special time happening right there. Sometimes other people might not even realize.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
They don't see the magic that's going on right in front of them.
Well, just being a fan of skating and like coming from, it really dawned on me when I started working for Girl, because I grew up on video days and like, was huge fans of literally every single person that skated for Girl and Chocolate. Absolutely. Yeah. So I was just like, oh my God, like, I wanted to photograph everything all the time. So it was so much fun for me. And Love was the same kind of thing. So when I went out there, to shoot Kalis in doing that tray flip, it was just, I knew I had the lens in mind, the spot, the film, everything, and we just sat out there and he did it super good.
So was that the footage? Was that the day that they filmed it too, or was that a different day?
If you'll notice, there's two different. There's one filmed from the back.
Yep.
And
the fisheye in the back.
The
right?
fisheye in the back is that day.
Oh, okay.
The other one was like the long lens from the front weird photo day.
Gotcha.
So there's two different. He did it a couple times.
Right.
Yeah. And he was like so on point with it was like hard to skate. I could not understand.
Those bumps are hard to skate.
Because the tile, he'll be like, no, it's this long. Like he knew exactly how many inches it was, but it was like short. To get like pop off of it and to be able to like
going that fast,
super
too.
steep. Like it was no transitional thing. It was just like
yeah, you had to pop like hella quick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And going that fast too makes it more difficult.
That shit is perfect right there, bro.
It's perfect. Listen,
that's a Duran spot.
I love bumps like that.
No, there's been debate though. Like that one. Well, just because when he and I looked at the film, we were like at Love and we were like looking at it and we saw that. We were like, dude, that catch. Like the catch is like, but other people were like, no, the frame before is better.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, because his like feet are flicked out and his boards, it's more of a traditional tray flip photo.
Okay.
But that one to me is like the most gangster catch ever.
Yeah.
He caught that shit. I'm
caught the shit out of that thing.
Yeah. Look how far he is from the bump to that catch right there.
Yeah.
He's just catching it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible.
Amazing.
Man.
That has to be probably one of the most recognized photos maybe that you have out there.
I think so.
Koston back nose blunt too.
Yes.
That's iconic.
Between
And
both of
like
those.
I said, and the Stevie front nose,
Yeah, the Koston one's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like Hubba and it's Eric and it's that time and like what he's wearing and the trick and it was the cover of Transworld and like all of it kind of added up to something. Yeah. Oh, just that also, Koston's worst film ever. I shot it with. Like,
Wait, hold on. We'll get to it. Hold on. I just have one more question about the kid. How many tries that day? You said he did it quick?
If I had to guess, I wish I could call him right now, but I would say like maybe 10.
Because he had already
Bro.
done it before. So he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's
like-
the day, right?
You already
You've
know.
done it
Yeah.
one, and then it's your mind's off or whatever.
You're 50
but
tries in.
you know what
you're
I'm
like,
saying?
Fuck.
He just wasn't. He was never one of those dudes, though.
he was on point.
And if it was like, if he was having problems, he's like, no.
It's done.
Like,
That's
yeah.
it. yeah.
We're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah,
today.
and I was always just like, okay, like I'm sleeping on your couch, so we'll try it tomorrow, like whatever.
Crazy.
Dude.
And that got published in
So that, that I don't know if it even ran anywhere.
DC ad? No.
Wow.
It was a poster when his shoe came out,
Oh,
and I think it
okay.
ran as a sequence in Skateboarder magazine. I could be mistaken.
Wait, you shot a
but
sequence of it too?
It's out of a
That's
sequence.
a sequence. Oh, that's out of a
sequence.
Okay,
yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah.
wonder you were saying the frame before that.
Yes. Yep.
Right. Okay, got it.
It was at a time, and that has to do with like why like Eric's photos remembered just outside of obvious like it being Eric and
Yeah.
the spot and all those things, but just DC kind of put that on a pedestal. Like they made posters of it and sent them everywhere to all the
Right.
shops, and because they
They were
Ken and Damon had the wherewithal to be like, that's good. That's and so they put it out there like it was everywhere. As everywhere as anything could be at that time. It was,
Have you ever shot a photo, like say that photo, right? You shot it black and white. Has anybody ever come back and be like, "Oh, this is a good photo, but I wish it's be better in color"? Or has anybody ever?
Yeah.
I could
Back
see it
then,
happening. Yeah.
Now it's not an issue because
Sure,
I'm
sure.
like, guess what? It is
That's
in
what
color. Yeah. Because
Got options.
Oh, because
Yeah.
you shoot the
when you
digital,
shoot a
right,
raw
right.
file,
Yeah.
it is actually in color.
What was it like being a photographer back then with dealing with the cops? Were you have like, when you have all your stuff with you, was it hard? Like, what was that like?
Well, I did. The running part was out for me.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Like, you had
I
all your
just-
equipment
and
with you?
the skating part was out, so I just chilled.
Oh.
Yeah. That was it.
Here's a dude with his bag.
Here's a guy with a camera bag and a whole bunch of film just hanging out.
Yep.
And that's all they saw.
So they never came after you for
They
anything.
would try. They occasionally would. They would. They would come after me and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just taking photos."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, you should be here." And I'm like, "Sir, I'm just taking photos. Like,
Right.
I don't really know.
Like,
what's
I'm a
the pro-
pedestrian.
I don't know what the problem is here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I had a board, but it was always stashed either in the trees or in the trash can, which is where
Gotcha.
most people's stuff got stashed. At the
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
When I first started going out there, I would sleep on Kalis and Stevie's couch, and we would just skate down the street to Love, like literally every day.
Yeah.
Didn't go around Philly, didn't go to different spots.
That was the
Just
spot.
Boom.
Yeah.
Cheesesteaks, blunts, like all day, like just hanging out. And then if nothing happened, I'd be like, "Can we shoot a photo of something?"
Right,
Yeah. I mean,
right,
that's how
right.
the switch front nose happened.
So yeah.
Because I knew you had filmed that before, and I was like, "Hey, dude, like, I'm really dope to get a photo of that."
I'll tell you something. Like the Stevie, and we'll go back
So
to the
good.
Eric photo too. But the Stevie Williams photo, it's behind Jerome. Let me grab
Yep.
it because I don't know if you could see it behind you. But the Stevie photo is, when you're shooting a front nose, especially on a ledge this fucking high, to get your board leveled out like that is quite the feat. Because
Yes.
sometimes you front nose and it's a little bit down. It's a little like
sandbag.
little sandbags.
Yeah.
Stevie is on top of that.
He most certainly is. You don't get any more. Yeah.
Wow. And even in the footage, too.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
incredible.
Because, it's front nose. You're like, damn, that was high. But the front nose is, it's never,
Yeah.
But wow, that's.
Proper as fuck.
And so he just did it again for you.
Yes.
Just said,
Well, he
"Ah,
filmed
just-"
it that day too, and I don't know if he had tried it. I knew that he had either done that or tried it because he could skate those ledges like it was nothing. He switch nose slid it. He
Right.
switch
I
front
think
side
we were
nose
on a
slid it.
filming trip at that time. I think, if I could, I'd like to say, damn, I was there. But I fucking think I was there, but I'm not sure.
Was there anything you shot back, or any tricks you saw back then that weren't landed that almost were done that you can remember?
Kalis' switch tray flip.
Yeah.
He almost switched tray flip to bump to can.
Yeah.
So many times. I mean, it's in the DZ video, like
Yeah.
the footage of it, and it's just like he almost did it so many times. So when Bill you did it, he was so psyched.
That was awesome that
Yeah.
Kevin did that.
No, it's so sick.
Did you
Those
shoot
kids-
that, or
I didn't. No, I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really wish. No,
Did he-
I
wait,
want
who
to
did
spend more
that?
Kevin Bilyeu at Muni. Same can,
Amazing.
same setup, same everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, how is it going back to Philly to to shoot the new generation of
It's
Philly.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
Those
I
kids
love
are-
it.
Those kids are amazing. But
They're so dope.
They really carried the torch of like what Kalis and Stevie did before, and they're
You could tell there's a special energy out there right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
dude.
Yeah.
I
And they
love
just
it.
turned that kid pro. For
Kevin.
BGK.
Kevin,
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 yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing.
Mike, are you
Love
sleeping
it.
on their couches when you go out there?
No. wait. By the way, where are you? Where's
He's in the back.
I'm in the
Okay.
control room.
He's like
Okay.
literally right behind you.
Yeah,
pretty
that-
much.
okay.
yeah.
That kind of weirded me out.
Yeah.
Now you now you
Just
get a
his
hotel.
voice.
You get a
Yeah.
hotel.
I do
hears
get
you.
a hotel.
They put you up.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put
I mean, I've
myself
been there
up.
for quite some time. They should be able
Right.
to put me up now.
Imagine like there's your couch, man. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skate life.
Yeah.
For sure.
I just think it's awesome that those kids like what they're bringing back to like the older the Kalis shoes stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
it's amazing.
They're bringing back. I guess you would say trends, but they're just making people know this is a great time in skateboarding
Yes.
that
It's
needs to be
coming back full
remembered
circle.
forever.
Yes.
And that's what I love about all those kids.
Yeah,
out there.
I mean, like watch them in like the Sabotage videos and stuff, skating love and like climbing over the fence, and just they were huge fans of that era of skating and like just everything about it. So it's like it's pretty dope,
Yeah.
and it's fun for me to like shoot photos of them and like, you know, I wish I could spend way more time out there.
yeah,
And, yeah.
Did they ask you a bunch of stuff about back then?
Some of it. I mean, I think they're almost too cool to do that. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, yeah. But I talked to Shanahan and like Bill Yu and Jameer and those kids a lot about, you know, all that.
Yeah, that time. That's awesome, man.
I'm sure just living there, they get the history updates. You
Yeah.
know, they from the OGs.
For sure.
And they
You
get
know.
more than their fair share from Kalis too.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
Kalis
go.
is there. He'll let you know.
Yeah, Kalis will take you under your wing and just.
Well,
let you
dude,
know
they.
what's up.
I saw something. I think it was on Brian Pinabianco's story, or maybe Kevin's too. They went to Kalis's house, and Kalis had like the Kalis upper on a lynx sole.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, please do that. I know I know it takes a lot of money to do all that stuff, but
I don't know. I may know some people, but
Yeah.
you might know some.
I
yeah.
might know some. Yeah, but
Put the
yeah.
request in for me, please.
Okay, I will. Duly noted.
So the Kalis photo, 99-ish. That's what
It
you
was
said.
in 99.
99.
Yep.
Okay.
October of 99.
October 99.
Yeah.
And you moved to San Francisco what year?
I moved to San Francisco in 94.
Okay, so 94. So not that much longer
No.
from moving to SF that you got the job at DC.
Yeah, it all happened pretty quickly.
5 years.
When he was with, in '98, you were with Girl for 1 year, or
We
Yes.
skipped over Mad Circle, too.
and Mad Circle.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That.
Wait,
Yeah.
you shot for Mad Circle?
Yeah, I lived with Justin and like helped him just literally whatever he needed help with, and shot all the photos for Mad Circle from 94 until they, basically folded as a
Right.
company at the end of 97.
Mad
Wow,
Circle.
dude.
And helped film like all the not all of it, but most of the film footage and all that stuff from Five Flavors I filmed.
Oh,
wow.
really?
Yeah. That's the only time I ever held any sort of a video camera type contraption. Was
Okay.
just because it was just Justin and I, and
Right.
Mesa and all kinds of people filmed because it was just in the city. Everybody filmed with everyone, but I helped just whatever I could and just shot
Such
photos.
a good company.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow. No, it was amazing.
SJ,
Carl Watson,
Carl
Pulio.
Watson. Yeah,
Yep.
I
man.
mean, they have a few different team riders who come and go, but
Yeah, there's like a couple eras of it.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
There's Let the Horns Blow. with,
That's
like
the
Mike
one.
KO.
That's the era that I know.
Yes.
That,
Yeah.
that really
Me
well.
too.
Yeah.
Let the horns blow. So you just got that job by being up there in SF and knowing everybody.
Yeah,
and
Scott, Scott knew that Justin was kind of like trying to keep his head above water doing everything.
Sure.
Because it was distributed out of Giant in Orange County, and he was literally doing everything. And he was like, hey, he needs help. And so I just, I'd had a good, by that time, relationship with Transworld, and, just went out with all the dudes and
Yeah.
shot as much as possible. But I was like super good homies with Mike and Chico and everyone. So we just, it was like, it's a small city. You just skate
Sure.
with everyone all the time and shot everything. So, yeah.
And EMB, man. You got to be there.
I didn't really shoot any photos at Embarcadero.
That's weird.
It's not weird because I didn't want to get robbed.
That's true. That's true.
It's a lot of activity going
But I
on.
feel
There
like if
was
you knew
a lot
people
of it.
down there, right?
So I got to know everyone as a skater.
yes.
And by the time I was like, had a camera bag on my back, it was like Pier 7.
got
so that-
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But like literally just skated Embarcadero.
sure.
Because I knew, you know what I mean? I showed up I show up there with like a camera bag, like you're getting robbed. Like there's no two ways about it. Like
Wow.
You gotta watch that thing.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
no, especially just some like random kid from Michigan.
True.
Like, hey, can I take your photo? Like I knew that was not my best foot forward.
Right.
No.
I knew I was just, and plus I just wanted to skate. You know, I just wanted to skate.
Isn't it funny though? You know, you think about back in the day, you think about, you know, Embarcadero, and like here's a guy in Michigan hearing the same stories that we're probably hearing down here in LA about Embarcadero and knowing, you know what I mean? Like
It's crazy.
that's kind of crazy.
Well,
if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean that and SF was just a little wild in general, not just a. So
Sure.
I knew, you know, I was like skating by myself at like
But people say
midnight.
the same thing about LA, you know, oh, LA's
True.
wild, like, you know, they just see shit. But I mean, just the skate talk throughout the country, like you being in Michigan, probably hearing these stories of, you
But
know,
those stories,
Kelch and
those stories were real in SF.
Yeah, they were
Like-
hella real.
Right. Straight up. You could get jacked at any given moment. Like, especially if you didn't have like some locals or your homies
Exactly.
that, you know, were.
No, I saw mad people come from like Europe with their VX cameras and stuff, and it
Oh.
was just poof, like gone.
Oh.
You know, and I was like, that's not gonna be me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my cameras that I worked really hard for, and you know,
hell
so,
yeah.
You're the
But
smart
then
one.
like once I kind of was in the mix, you know, like
right.
was friends with everyone, then it was like fine.
It was
you know?
cool, yeah,
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 because they were, you know, and I remember like, you know, Mike and people being like, "That's crazy. You take photos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, actually, I do." You know, like, so
Like this hidden secret, like, you know,
I mean,
like,
you know, again, I just like skating. With
Right.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, which is amazing.
Love it.
Pier 7 came after EMB, but was it built there already, or did people just kind of discover it, or did they just build it?
They had just built it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think in like '96. I mean, people will come after me if the dates are wrong, but
Right,
I'm
right, right.
pretty sure it was '95 or.
Well, because there was a transition.
Actually, you
point.
know what? Yeah, it was probably like 94, 95. Like they were probably building it when I was skating.
It makes
Wow.
sense.
Yeah.
That
There
must-
was a transition point, right? It's like EMB was kind of becoming this bust, and then everybody would
Exactly.
kind of go over.
Went across the street.
There was
across the street,
there was
yeah.
options, yeah. You do go
Yeah.
to Hubba Hideout, but Hubba Hideout started to be a bust as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Went in spurts. It wasn't too
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
they-
when Eric did that, it was
No, it was
mellow.
mellow.
Like we hung out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then they
for a
started
while.
putting. Then they put like benches and shit up there.
Yeah.
And they try to
Yeah.
prevent certain
Yeah.
things.
You got the SJ photo. You're shooting with Edward De Vera, Mad Circle, right? Is there anything that in there in between? You're just getting stuff in Transworld.
When Mad Circle folded in '97,
Mm-hmm.
it was right when I found out that I was having my son Noah.
Gotcha.
And just
Gotcha.
you know, and that the rent was going through the roof, and Trisha, my kid's mom, her family was from the valley,
Okay.
and so that's how I've
That's how we
ended
linked
up.
up.
That's how we ended
interesting.
up being neighbors.
But at the same time, you said everybody was kind of moving down here
Yes.
as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it kind of made sense.
The timing,
at the
yeah.
same time.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't really planned out
Sure,
like
sure.
that. But I remember Mesa hitting me up and was like, "Hey, dude, we're going skating." And I remember Carol, Chico, and Tony Ferguson had a place, and that was kind of in campus. And I remember
Brea.
pulling up there and seeing like Scott and everyone. I was like, "Dude, this is amazing! Like, we're all here. Like,
Right.
This is so sick." You know?
So good.
I mean, you could live 10 miles apart and never see that person.
Oh,
5
yeah,
miles
for
even,
sure.
and never
10
see that
Yeah,
person.
10 miles in LA is like 150 anywhere else
It's
in the US.
crazy.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you guys all kind of converged on like La Brea
Migrated
area,
into some
little
small little
campus.
area.
Yeah.
No, the
pretty
campus
funny.
was amazing. It was.
What is
later
this
on it was like
campus you're talking
Ave,
about?
like a lot of people lived there.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
No, I should have got money from Park La Brea because I recruited
You
hella people
Oh,
Park
to live there.
Yeah, it was a
That's
nice
the campus.
Bro,
Okay,
nice
okay.
place too.
So well, Park La Brea was the apartments, but then Keith lived down the street, and Dimitri and Scott had a place. Clyde lived across the street from Carol and Chico and Tony.
Wow.
And then,
Imagine this neighborhood.
and then
That's incredible.
in the building that I lived in, Ave and Deerdick had a place like 4 floors below me. Bird was in the same
Bird,
tower.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I mean there was like, it was crawling with skateboarders. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing. I remember one Thanksgiving. I was either Thanksgiving or New Year's. Like literally everyone ended up at my house.
Wow.
And it was just the craziest thing. And I remember going in and checking on my son, and he was just like a baby. You know what I mean? Just a baby. Like, it's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
There's a bunch of crazy
just a
skating.
young, very
Don't mind
young
the
parent.
noise.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably not being the best parent, but just like, you're good. You know? Like,
Amazing.
yeah, but campus was dope.
It was dope. Yeah. I mean, I didn't make my way out there too often, but when I did, it was. I mean, we'd
Yeah.
go shoot photos and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it was quite the. I was tripping on that.
What was it like back then going to shoot photos? Like, you know, people these days are very planned out on what they're doing, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna go to this spot. I want to try this trick. Did you guys just go skate all day and whatever happened at that point?
It's like Lockwood.
There was a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But it was mostly like, hey, let's just go skate.
Yeah.
You know? And there was a lot of like, hey, let's just go skate. And there wasn't necessarily like 2 filmers. And you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like,
What's
Not a production.
yeah?
It
What's
wasn't a
like
production.
what's a photo that you took in a time like that where it was just the randomest thing that you still look back like, well, this is a credible moment in photo from just a random one that's taken.
That
I mean-
turned into something like dope.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Legendary.
I mean, you mean just like going out skating?
Spur of the moment, like random skating, like photo.
You know, Kelly, that's an excellent question. You kind of stumped me right there.
That
Well,
is
this-
that is kind of a hard question
It
to
is,
answer. You know?
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like Eric's, you know, like I guess it wasn't like super planned out, but I remember Mesa like kind of giving him grief driving up, you know, like, hey, like, you know. So
really?
it was like, yeah, I mean,
Give him a grip for
I mean,
what?
sometimes
Back
like
to back to
personally,
back.
like I mean, a trick that I've done, like whatever the trick at the courthouse, I was
Yes.
just randomly happened one day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So sometimes these moments happen that you're like, oh, I got this photo of this dude randomly. It's one of my favorite
I'm
photos.
sure a lot of photos were like that though. Back
mean-
then too. You
Yeah.
go to Lockwood, you go just random.
yeah, I mean, you know, like Stevie's photo on the table, like I had shot that photo previously on slide film.
Okay.
With like flashes and everything, and Mesa was filming him, and it was his first chocolate ad.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like he was just skating the tables one day, and I had black and white film, and I was like, man, this looks insane. So I just shot it like that. But I mean, there's photos that I look back on to kind of answer your question, where like there's a photo of Dill doing a nose manual at the library downtown.
Insane. Yeah.
Just he and I just going out skating.
Right.
yeah.
And I remember Warp. Do you remember Warp?
Yeah.
magazine? They wanted the cover. They wanted to give Dill the cover. And so we went out, and that was his idea. He's like, dude, I want to nose manual this. And I was like, that's insane, because I'm afraid of heights. Like, I was terrified.
Yo, that thing's scary as hell.
So scary. And, you know, we just shot it. And it's funny because it never got used because they didn't want it. Which in
Really?
hindsight, I think would have made an amazing, like, timeless
Who didn't want
cover.
it?
The editors at the time didn't want it at Warp.
Wow.
So he shot a switch crook on this like that big flat bar downtown. I forget what street it was on, but that ended up being the cover.
Oh wow.
But yeah, in that photo to me is
Amazing, yeah.
not as
Yeah.
memorable
Yeah.
as the
Switch
nose manual.
crook.
Yeah,
Right.
the switch
That's
crook
good.
on the flat bar wasn't as memorable.
Right.
I mean, it's dope because it's like Dill
Absolutely.
yellow
Yeah.
shirt,
Yeah.
links on, like
Hair.
DC links
For what it
fuck-
is.
The
Yeah.
hair,
Oh,
like
so
it was
sick.
sick, you know.
Damn.
So
Man.
Damn.
I love that, dude. So it's funny, like I feel like a lot of things happened from the time you moved to SF to the time you moved down here. I
Yes.
mean, like you're talking about like the Transworld thing happening, right? You're
Yes.
talking
Did
about
you get like right then when Grant started sending you film? Did you get on retainer right then, or when did the retainer thing start to happen?
So I sent Grant photos. He was like, they're good, but they're blurry. So I was like, cool, I got a new lens. Because I had like a Tamron lens. It was like an off-brand lens. I had a
Okay.
Nikon camera. So he was like, they're still not sharp. So I got my eyes checked. That's why I got glasses.
okay.
And then,
You're like they look good to me.
yeah, I was like, they're it turns out they were no sharper than my elbow. And and then I, you know, got glasses, shot some photos, looked through my old film. As soon as I came home from like Lens Crafters or whatever, I looked, you know, took my loop out, looked at my slides, and I was like, oh damn. And then
I love that.
way.
and then I you know, shot some more photos. They got published. And then I pretty much not too long after that got a retainer.
Got a retainer.
Because I think they were excited to have a guy in SF. Because,
NSF.
you know, that's why I moved to San Francisco. Because at the time, that was like the epicenter of skating. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like all my favorite.
In such a condensed area.
I mean, yeah, just like Carol and Javante and Chico. Like I was just like,
Legends.
that's the spot. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, and I was just, just happened to be plopped in the middle of it and with a camera. So,
love that, man.
yeah.
So it's like Transworld, Mad Circle, even Girl when you were still up there, right?
No,
Girl was down
moved
here?
to LA and then started shooting, with all the guys. And then, I came to LA right in the beginning of '98 and then kind of started working for Girl pretty quickly after I moved.
Okay.
And then when the DC thing came up, Ken sort of wanted me to just like DC be able to give photos, so I could still shoot photos for Girl or but he also wanted me to end my retainer with Transworld so I can give photos to everyone. So that's when I moved when then I was like giving photos to everybody all the time, like Thrasher and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, you also had the DC thing, right? So there's your paycheck. You don't need the retainer.
Yeah. In theory, yeah, that was what the
Right.
idea was. Yeah.
Right.
How did you even get introduced to like DC or Ken?
Well, because Mike and Rick and Huff and Scott, and all those dudes skated for DC.
DC
And I was
Super
always
Tour,
out
right?
with them all the time in
DC
LA.
Super Tour.
Were you on the Super Tour?
I was not. That was in '97. Oh, I was still
just missed it.
marinating in San Francisco.
Just missed it by a couple years.
Just missed it by a year.
You could have had one of those jerseys.
I could have. Now I can buy one from Palace.
They make 'em.
There you
I
go.
do.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Maybe they'll send me one. I don't know.
So those dudes kind of put in the good word for you for DC.
Yeah, Ken, I remember called me and was just like, "Do you want to shoot photos? Do you want to work for DC?" Basically, and I was like, "Yeah."
You didn't know. You didn't know Ken.
No.
You just a random call. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because at the time, Mike Ballard worked for them, and
Mike
I
Ballard.
quit, left. I don't know what happened, but
Gotcha.
nonetheless, he wasn't working for them anymore, and they needed someone.
They needed staff.
Ken saw the value in having someone shooting photos like
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
and that's why when I started working there, he was like, "You're going to be going to Love Park a lot." Or like, we're gonna do this thing with Danny. Like, good luck. Like, you got a lot of stuff to do.
Right.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, they were doing spectacular things. Plus, like you said, there's like 6 mags back then. Like DC's doing a lot of press, so to speak.
pressing the button a lot.
Pressing
back
the
then.
button.
Yeah.
Keeping you busy.
Yeah.
For
Well, that's when-
sure.
Yeah, magazines were a thing back then, right? It's like
Yes. They certainly were.
big. They were
Boys and
big.
girls, it's this print thing. It's you flip the pages. There's pictures on it. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
we got
bro.
one left.
One
We got
left.
One left.
Holding the
We
flag.
do have one left.
Man.
Yeah.
Holding the flag.
Thank God we still have one left.
Seriously. Thank goodness.
So going back to the Eric Koston photo, back noseblunt Hubba Hideout. What year was that?
98.
Okay.
Yeah, March or April of 98, because I remember my son wasn't born yet. And I was like, he was due around June.
Okay.
And we were driving up to Vancouver to go to the Slam City contest.
All
And
you guys.
All of us. Like a lot of people, yeah.
Okay. I was wondering what happened because there was Rick in the background. You could
Yes.
see he's waiting
Yeah.
for his turn.
Yeah.
Ah, it
What
a
was he
tour.
trying?
I think he was trying like front shove crook. He was doing a couple different things.
Okay.
So that's why I ran to Walgreens. Again,
Again,
Walgreens.
the Walgreens.
That's my spot.
Walk in. Hey, Mike.
That's my secret photo spot. And got Konica 3200 speed print film. So I didn't have to set up flashes for just one of the ledges. I can shoot both of them.
There's a lot to this photography thing. I don't know.
Film speed, who knows?
So I went and bought like literally like the fastest print film I could find, and it was like Konica 3200 speed print film.
Damn.
And it allowed me to shoot both without setting up flashes, which also in hindsight not the best film in the world.
Okay.
But I got a snip test of it done, which means what they do is they'll pull out just a small portion of it and process like 2 inches of it.
Wait a minute. You're going to you're shooting.
Sorry, I'm sorry if this is turned into a photo
No,
class.
I absolutely love it
My
because
bad.
here's me just
Everyone.
thinking, oh, Playback Shop with a photo, got the thing, but it's a whole
It's
process.
kinda like
you know
that.
what I mean? But you got the
layers.
film, you went and tested it.
Well, so here's what
I mean,
we did.
these guys are skating. You might miss some shit.
No, I didn't do it while we were skating.
Oh, well, I thought it was like the Kalis thing.
I
where you was
appreciate you thinking.
Hold
I'm
on,
doing
guys. Got to go to Walgreens. Please hold.
Hold tight.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
it. No. He shot that. We drove up to Vancouver, went to the contest, came back to LA. Then that's when I had it processed.
Oh.
How is that? I mean, like nowadays, right? Take the photo, look at it.
Instant,
I mean,
yeah.
you're on a tour.
Yeah.
Eric Koston, backside nose blunts, Hubba.
Yeah.
And now you continue on your your tour.
No idea what it looks like.
No idea
We don't know if we got
idea.
it.
if you got it.
No, none whatsoever.
Like I would have anxiety. Like if I was shooting all this shit and not knowing if
Right.
I would want to run over and get it developed. I would want to make sure.
That's where
Yeah.
we're at these days, you know?
Bro.
Yeah.
for sure.
But fortunately, I had some semblance of knowing what I was doing.
Well,
at that point.
I know that.
Got some confidence in
I know
his
that.
skills.
But listen,
So-
I mean,
He had
anything can
glasses at
happen.
that point. Yeah, he knew how to
Listen,
yeah.
can anything happen in processing and all this stuff? You could lose film and like
So here's the
X-ray
thing.
machines. You hear of tours and
Oh
it's like
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. So that's the thing is I remember I think it was, however it was. I think Rick was kind of giving me shit one day. He was like, "You're sharing a room with Sheffy," and I was
Okay.
like, "Okay," because I kind of knew him. I knew him from Michigan. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
sure,
Like we
sure.
used to. I'd shot photos of him when we were both kids in Michigan. I was like, "All right, I got that. Like no big deal," but. I kept that roll of film in my pocket the entire time because no matter what happened to everything that I had, I still had that roll of film with me. So it never left my pocket.
This is what I'm talking
the entire
about.
time I was on that
A
trip.
little bit of anxiety, right? A little bit of like,
No,
I got to watch over this.
No anxiety had I left the film in the room. No anxiety with it in my pocket.
Yeah, you know where that thing is at all times. Yeah.
I
What if
did.
you jumped in
Yeah.
the pool and forgot it was?
Can't even swim.
Wouldn't have did that.
No.
Perfect.
Yep.
Take a shower,
I don't shower with my clothes on.
I don't know these things.
Hell,
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
That was my next question. Do you shower with your clothes on? I don't know.
No, turns out I don't.
I don't know. I just find it just really insane.
Yeah.
You go overseas, and a lot of photographers, they have to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
They can't go through the X-ray machine. They got their bags checked, and it takes a long time. It's
Yeah.
a process.
It is.
He's
But,
like,
you know.
I'm worried about Chef. I'm not worried about none of that.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I'm worried about getting punched in the face.
What, do you have
Which
any good?
Sean is a sweetheart now. He ain't gonna.
He
do
really
that.
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He's
Best.
the best.
You got any good Sheffy stories?
He was
I
the
mean,
best
there's a
then.
few
So let me
probably,
clarify.
yeah.
He was the best then too. He
Oh,
just
yeah.
had moments that
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
kind of make you scared.
He would make you wild out.
No, it's funny because my daughter and I were at Colin's house recently, and she was like playing on her Switch, and Sean was sitting with her, and we were driving home, and she's like, "Sean's the nicest guy," and I'm like, "Girl, you don't even know." So we went home and watched like the life video and the plan. She was like, "Wow, look at his hair." And I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "Look at him." She's like, "He's amazing," and I'm like, "Yes, he is."
Yes, he
He
is.
certainly is, and was.
Legend.
And still is,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric Koston, Back Nose Blunt. You guys are on a tour up to, you said Vancouver?
Yes.
Slam City Jam? Where are
Yep.
we going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Where, I mean, this was just one stop. This is one day. Like, would you stay in SF for a day or two?
I think we stayed the night in SF.
That's a good halfway point, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
From LA. Like we
right,
went
right,
up
right.
there to skate Hubba because it was, Maze. I remember
Sure.
like poking Eric, like, when are you going to do the back nose blunt?
Oh, he
You
was
know what I
already
mean?
claiming it.
Well, because we were filming for the chocolate tour. And that
Gotcha.
was like, we, want to get that. And so, yeah, we stopped in SF. He did that, library session, like skated the library for a while. And then on our way up to Vancouver.
How many tries did it take Eric to do that?
I could look in the film, not that many. I mean, it was one roll of film. I couldn't.
Really?
Walgreens only had a couple rolls of film. I think I had like maybe 2 rolls of that film, and it was like hard to get even back then because it was such an obscure kind of film.
Yeah.
Which thankfully they had it. And I'm so thankful that I didn't shoot it with like flash, like the way photos were traditionally shot back then.
Why?
Because it has like such a dope look to it. I like high speed
it.
print film because if you blow that up really big, it looks like a drawing.
Like
the
little
grain,
dots
the
and,
grain is
like-
huge in
Okay.
it. Because there's a thing again. It's a photo class. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, I love
so there's a
Gotta
thing
push
called
that film.
Yeah, exactly. There's that voice. Yeah, so I came back to LA and immediately had to get the film processed. So I took it to this lab in the valley, and I was like, "Hey, push this to stop." But I need a snip test, and a snip test is just getting the piece of film processed. Got it back, and you could barely see Eric, barely. So I was like, oh, good thing I didn't process the whole roll like that. So I'm like, push it a little more than 2 stops.
Right.
And so now you're at like ISO 12,500 or whatever. So what you do is you overdevelop film that was underexposed.
Got you.
Because you had to shoot it at a high enough shutter speed in order to keep Eric sharp.
Then you got to raise the light level.
So the faster the shutter speed, the less light comes into the camera.
You.
There you only get so much with the film, even 3200. So you had to over process it to compensate, which creates more grain. And that's why that photo looks like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's not a Walgreens job. This is an actual.
It's a lab, like a 1 hour photo lab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you go up there, they give you a little test.
I get like the strip of film. Eric's pretty see-through at that point.
Okay.
Still not that good. I'm like, do the whole roll, but process like a little over 2 stops.
You didn't even get another little test?
No. Well, because I didn't want to like, what if I snipped the back nose blunt in half?
Right.
Couldn't do that. So I had to go with a little over.
I'm
2
getting anxiety just sitting here like,
Dude, that's crazy.
I mean, listen,
It's a
you're talking
process,
about
man.
like these iconic photos and the process it was back then to, get these. It's mind blowing to me. I know, I love it. It's crazy.
Well,
Some stuff
nose
I would
blunt.
shoot black and white solely because I could go and process it immediately right away. And some of the stuff, like Danny's stuff, like we did these night Super Amp sessions, and technically speaking, they were difficult to shoot because it was like 25,000 watt lights shining into the camera and strobes and nighttime, and it
What
was
was this
hard.
for?
It was a Super Amp. It was a commercial for one of Danny's shoes. I think in like 2001.
Okay.
Like towards the end of 2001.
Huh.
But just technically speaking, it was like difficult. And I remember dropping, it had to be color.
Okay.
So I remember dropping off the film at my lab and like literally staying up at night, second guessing myself. Like, did I shoot that right? Like, because you have to balance everything out in the camera and hopefully, so I picked it up the film the next morning and looked at it. I was like, all right, I'm good.
It was good.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Good. You're almost kind of putting your trust into the lab as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's another reason why I would process my own stuff because I knew I was going to do it the right way. But I didn't have everything in my apartment at the time because color takes more equipment and the temperatures have to be more exact than with black and white. Black and white, you can kind of like, if your chemicals are at like 70 degrees and you need to get them down to like 68, you can put them in a little bowl of cold water and cool them. Cool them down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it was not the most exact process in the world.
So
Like something like the back nose. Maybe this is crazy, but like, do you have other photos of the back nose blunt that weren't? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So there's different
angles?
ones, different angle, or maybe the same angle, but
Same angle because I was kicking it with Carl.
Oh,
and we
sick.
were just talking, and I was like, "This looks so sick," because I could see him getting into it.
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So we just stayed at the same place. Sorry, I'm hitting the mic.
No, you're
it's all
good.
But so there's other. You have other frames of him,
Yes.
But that frame.
but you don't give those out anywhere. You keep them.
No,
for-
I still have the roll of film, obviously.
Dude, that's so sick though.
Yeah.
Because like to me, when I watch so maybe some old footage of like a session, and you see the tries, they don't make it, but it's still cool to watch.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
But it's like you have a lot of those photos,
Yes.
probably stashed like that.
Right,
Oh
right.
no, I mean I have so much stashed because back then it was like cool. You go out with like a couple dudes and like the one photo gets used in the magazine, but all the other photos don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And luckily I saved all that film.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily archive it in the best way possible, but I have, if I had to guess, probably about 35, 40 bins of just film. Like slide
how
film.
How many bit? What's a bit? Like
Like one of those-
slide film?
Yeah, of like
Slides.
Yeah, I probably have like 100,000 slides.
I was gonna say 40,000, but that.
Wow.
So that's how I found stuff recently that I'll like post on Instagram where it's like Gino's kickflip on Hollywood Boulevard or like, where I'm like, because I remember finding that and I was like, oof, all right. Like, so, like in, Popecki from the same session and like,
Yes.
So I still need to go, but now, kids work.
Yeah, it's a lot.
everything.
It's a lot.
I don't have time to like,
Going through 100,000 slides. It's a lot.
it'll take a minute.
You could almost just pull out a photo and be in see that time period.
Oh yeah.
That's something I would probably want to do on. I would be like, hey Mike, can I look through it, dude? Like, let me check it.
Be my guest.
And let him know if you find anything dope. you
Yeah,
know,
Oh, yeah,
'cause,
dude. Because that must be crazy for you to go back and when you do go through, look through it. Must be a trip.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah, it's
fun.
fun to look through.
Well, it's
film.
a moment in time. You know,
Yeah.
it's like these old videos and stuff like that. They captured that.
Well, it's fun. Like even with Kalis's like tray flip, like the negatives are in the same sheet that they were in October of '99, and there's like writing from all the different times that it was scanned, and like the date was on there, and like everything is on there. So it's like sick to go through and look at
That's
all that.
amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's
And
dope.
I just want to bring it up now and probably bring it up later too. But your website, you can buy all your
Hey,
your
thanks.
Playback,
Yeah.
playback photo, right?
Yeah.
No,
It's-
Playback Shop.
Playback Shop.
Playbackshop.com. You know.
Because I've mentioned it on the show a few times, but please go check it out, everyone. It's one of the
Yes.
coolest.
Oh
so
yeah.
sick.
Well, I have Grant to thank for that.
Oh, he.
Well, he, you know, because he was just like, dude, you should sell prints of your old photos. And I was like, nah, you should do that. And I'm like, he's like, no, you really like 90s stuff like that. You know, he's like, you got a lot of stuff. And I was like, you know, I'm always the skater mentality, like, nah, like,
Yeah,
Right.
And so then I started, and it's been really fun for me to do because there's no magazines around, so it's like dope to see photos, especially old ones in print. And it's rad, like with the Koston one, people, you know, like I want a 30 by 40, and you get to see like giant prints of it, and it's just dope that
amazing.
people want them, and like
Yeah.
it's sick.
Well, it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
You know, as this. I mean, this is the time that we lived in skating.
Yeah.
You know, and there's other guys out there that probably have normal jobs now. They don't skate as bad. It still means so much to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
So can they they can go on and request sizes, or
Yeah.
is that like a special like DM thing?
No,
Like,
no,
hey,
no. The shop, it's like kind of everything from 8 by 10 to 30 by 40. You can get.
Amazing.
really?
Yeah.
I would love my front nose slide.
Well, you know,
30.
I may know someone.
How many different shots is there?
Like 70.
Sick.
Oh, you could go through. You have 70
Options.
different. Oh.
Yeah, or so. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm always down to like make custom print. Like,
Yeah.
I posted a photo of Sheffy recently that I found. Again, it was like a photo from that Vancouver trip of him doing an ollie in the skate park, and I was
Amazing.
like, wow, that looks so sick. And I posted it, and like a few people DM'd me and were like, hey, can you? And I'm like, yeah, just refer to my shop for sizes and PayPal me, and I got you. I'll send it. Yeah,
That's
easy.
so rad, dude.
Yeah, it's fun for me. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's awesome that people even want it. You know, like
right.
yeah, and it's just dope. Like prints, because it's cool seeing prints, and it's a rad way to look at photographs these days.
It's
You can hang it on your wall, man. These are still.
I got
Need to be in the
5
magazine.
Thank
do have a few.
You gave me a few. I appreciate that a
Yeah.
lot, man. 'cause
man.
that's I have like 7 boards and all of those photos you gave me on the wall.
That's sick.
Yeah. So how much does a photo go for if on playbackshop.com? What are we looking
I mean,
at?
like an 8 by 10 is like $50, and a
Okay.
30 by 40 is like $300. So I try to keep it like a pretty reasonable
Yeah.
amount.
Definitely
For
reasonable.
sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like I appreciate the audience that's getting it, that people want it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
and and like Grant's stuff is priced more, which it should be because it's older, and it's like to me it's,
Different eras,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So maybe the price will go up as the years
You
go
know,
on.
maybe a
Yeah.
little. Yeah.
So maybe you can get a little Koston photo for 50 now, maybe about 300 now.
Maybe a
couple
little
years,
inflation.
A little
Maybe,
inflation.
Maybe
You
the
know?
yeah.
And are your books available on there too?
The first book that I made is available at Powerhouse.
Power,
So it's-
which is this? Is this one right here?
Yes. So if you go to Powerhouse Arena,
Right.
it's still available, I believe. I mean, we made that in
been a while, right?
2009. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you put these books together, because I think there's this needs to be documented and tangible. You know what I mean?
Well, the same thing as prints. Like a book is a pretty tangible thing.
Look at that guy, Mariano.
That was the first frame of film that I ever shot with that camera.
First frame.
Wow.
Yeah. X-Pan. I remember I took it out of the box at the spot and shot that. And I was like, I got the film back, and I was like, wow.
That's the Firestone bump. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is that,
that was a
Went over
dodgy
shit,
bump.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
I hated that bump.
I loved it.
Oh, so
yeah.
weird
Actually,
to
I didn't
skate.
love it because it was a kind of a high drop, but it was cool.
We shot a girl head.
Heel flip shoves.
Oh, he
No,
was
Switch
short?
Heels.
Switch Heels?
Yeah. You had two.
Yeah.
You had jorts on. You had the jorts.
I had my jorts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Hella jorts.
this is a more recent book. Right?
Yeah, that's something
the
that-
Kalis Blabac.
Yep. That's something that DC made in 2019 because that was the 20-year anniversary of Josh's first shoe coming out.
Wow, dude.
So it was, I mean, I'm always thankful and stoked to do stuff like that because,
Yeah.
again, it's like a tangible thing. And I think we only made like 500 copies of that or something. So it's just like,
That's what I'm saying.
Still super
It's
sick.
tangible. Like Pete Thompson, just I think he did a book recently.
Yeah, it's
or
sick.
he's you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is the kind of shit we need, bro.
it's a dope way to keep that out there and keep like what
Yeah.
we're all love
Yeah.
doing and love seeing. Like,
And
out
I
there.
love the behind
Totally.
the scenes stuff. I love to see those photos that we were talking about earlier of people sitting on the curb and doing this.
Yes.
And I was looking through Pete Thompson's book, and I was trying to double tap on the thing to zoom in to see who was back
Squeeze
there.
it
I
a
was trying
little
to
bit.
squeeze it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But
So
I
it's funny
love-
because now, in hindsight, after doing this
Look at
for
this.
a minute,
Yes.
kicking it.
to be able to, like looking back and seeing that kind of stuff that I just happened to shoot. I had this little Nikon like point and shoot camera and shot those, and seeing how like valuable those are to me now.
Right.
I try and shoot that kind of stuff all the time
Yeah.
now.
Right. Right.
And just stuff like
it.
that where it's just like he's just skating love. You know
It's
what I mean?
so
Like,
sick. But that's what I'm saying. The background, like I was trying to pinch and zoom.
Yeah, just capturing a moment. Those are great, solid moments right there.
Because I never got to go to Love. I think we went there on a hot, maybe Badass Dumbass or Hot Chocolate Tour. Maybe a Hot Chocolate Tour. It was at night, We just
Yeah.
got out. And I never got to skate it. It's one of my big regrets,
Yeah.
Because those ledges and
Yeah,
just the
it's a solid
iconicness, They're getting rid of the, I think they're going to demolish the Westlake Courthouse pretty soon.
really?
Yeah, I think they're going to put in something else there. But it was funny. There was I was down at the beach and there were some skaters in town from somewhere else. They were younger kids, and they were asking, oh, where do I go, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of them knew a little history, but I was like, hey, go check out the courthouse because it probably won't be there for much longer. And you might not appreciate it now, but later down the line in a couple years, 5 years from now, you'll probably be like, damn, I went there.
You hooked those kids up.
I went there.
Yeah, yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah.
It's
And
gone now.
And now
Yeah.
there's a luxury apartment.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and now there's a Whole Foods.
I just,
Pretty much.
I mean, this is
Pretty much.
skateboarding
And a Starbucks.
history. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like these spots are iconic.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And being able to tell some kid like, yeah, they're 19 years old from fucking, they drove from wherever,
Yeah.
I'm like, go there.
Yeah.
You'll probably appreciate it later.
No, it's funny. I remember Kalis doing that to kids, like just a random group of kids from Idaho or wherever
Sure.
they were from.
Yeah.
And I remember him like just schooling these kids and like showing them what was up and like, like just telling them how important like the scene is and like what you do.
100%.
And it's like, it's dope.
Because
So
these
you hook those
19-year-old
up.
kids, maybe they haven't seen these videos and this and that,
Yeah.
and they don't know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe they will later,
Yeah.
and it's like, go check this spot out.
Yeah.
You won't regret it.
Yeah.
Because it's iconic, bro.
Definitely.
Love it, bro.
Dude,
I don't know if they went or not, but
Yeah, what's it like? Because I saw recently that you went back out to film with or shoot photos with him recently for Kalis out in.
Yes.
Like, how does that feel to be doing that for 20 plus years with
30
him?
years.
30 years.
The first photo I shot of Josh was in 1989.
89.
Yeah.
What was it?
It was a noseblunt slide on a Target curb, which the curb is still there. It's at Target in Grand Rapids. Kevin Staub had a company called 90 back in the day, and Kalis was sponsored by it. And he was 15, and I think I was just turned 16 and had my permit or whatever and drove down there and shot.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that was the first. And
It's a little
again,
red curb.
that book was like 30 years. So there's that photo's in the
That's
book.
in the book?
It
Oh
is in
my
the book. Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Page one? It's a page one? Started off?
I don't know.
Did you meet him just skating or like shooting photos?
Just skating.
Oh, okay.
Because Michigan's, that's the, yep. That was one of the first photos I shot.
in
of
the
You
Josh.
can't see it,
Target.
Kelly. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you. You're going to have to buy the book. Here you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
dope.
Yeah.
Is he wearing gloves?
He was. It was cold.
Yeah,
it was
looks
Michigan.
cold.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the stories need to be told. That's what I love about it.
Well, it's funny because Josh at the time was grounded as well.
He was grounded.
He was grounded.
Okay.
He stole his dad's baseball cards and sold them
Wow.
to buy boards.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a groundable
It
offense.
is a groundable
amazing,
offense
though.
as we
I would
well
be
know as
so
adults.
furious if you did some shit like that.
Depending on who the baseball cards were.
I
I
believe
mean,
they were
listen.
pretty valuable.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
At the time.
At the time, they were extremely valuable. And so he told his dad that I worked for Transworld, like lied to him because I was in high school still at the
Right.
time, that I worked at Transworld and that I was going to go out with him and shoot photos. And that's the only reason his dad let him out to go skating.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that because the passion's there. Was he even sponsored back then, or just?
By 90.
Yeah.
Oh, by 90.
Yeah,
That's right.
I
That's
think
right,
that's why
right,
we
that's
shot
right.
it. There was a couple random like,
Oh, okay.
and so we sort of knew one another through the small skate scene in Michigan. You know, because he lived in Grand Rapids and I was in Lansing.
Gotcha.
And
How
which is
far
about
is that?
About an hour drive.
Hour drive?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which, when you're a kid, an hour to go skate is absolutely nothing.
Called the house phone.
Called the house phone.
Yeah.
Blinked it all up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Met at the spot.
Got the Thomas guide out.
Yeah. No,
mapped out
not
a
even.
little-
Didn't even have.
Not even a Thomas
Yeah.
guide.
No, didn't
Just
even-
turn left at the pole.
When you and I were skating, that's what Thomas guy.
God.
Yeah.
Thomas guy with post-it notes and
Turn
Polaroids.
turn left at the Sharky's fucking burrito spot.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Writing all those directions down too,
Dude.
like turn left at Sharky's.
Yeah,
Like,
Sharky's.
Oh, like not even
And
know the
sitting
name
in
of the
traffic.
streets.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know no street names.
Yeah, getting like directions from like Julio de la Cruz to where like
my
some spot in
God.
Vernon is, and you're just like, dude, like, all right. And just somehow I'd find it.
There's
you
gonna
know?
be a dude on the side of the street. You're gonna make a left right there. Like,
No, yeah.
Scavenger hunt,
Yeah.
bro. Are you
Yeah,
kidding
yeah.
me?
I fucking love Julio. I Julio showed up at that bump that you the
You-
guy bump.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's who
yes.
showed
He showed up
me.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you there when he showed up?
He, dude, I'm not surprised.
I'm a
Like,
big
maybe.
Julio fan.
That was his
Huge
spot.
Julio fan.
Like
That
whole,
was his area.
That
in
whole
yeah.
zone was
I think
his.
he had a little skate shop in that area.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I love Julio de
Yeah,
la
he's a
Cruz,
man.
bro. Let's get into some DC stuff. We did touch on it, but like you said, you've been with them for what, damn near 30 years, something like that, 20 something
Not
years.
quite.
We're-
21.
Okay,
21 years.
No,
So you're
22.
Ooh.
Oh.
I started in 99
Yeah.
so you're legal.
on the math.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're legal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. DC me can drink.
But DCU.
That's impressive, bro. Really.
It is.
Yeah.
And so because here's what I love about DC that I think that translates to you being a photographer with DC is they do so many different things besides skateboarding, right? They do
Yes.
the Ken Block stuff with his rally cars. I don't know if it's a rally car, but whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's a car.
Okay.
Yeah.
His little car stuff,
Yeah.
his little car stuff.
I mean, it's not that little, but yeah.
which is amazing. No, it's amazing. I just don't know
he
that
may
much.
find offense with that, but
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Ken. My bad.
Yeah, we use little
My bad.
as our little reference point
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
on anything we
It's
talk
not.
about.
It's not LITTLE. It's LIL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your little rally car. You
Yeah.
know, like Mike Blaback's little camera. So, but there's that stuff, and then also, I mean, you did the. That was DC too? The motorbike in the fucking ocean.
there was, yes. I did
Like
do
that kind of stuff to me is like, wow, that's
Well, it's really fun for me.
yeah.
And it's, I mean, obviously. And it's fun for me coming from skateboarding, seeing that.
Right.
Because, like, I when Ken at first asked me to shoot Gymkhana, the first one I shot was 4, and that was in 2011 at Universal Studios.
What was it? What were we shooting?
Gymkhana. was-
Gymkhana?
Yeah, so there are these, like, basically he had the idea, to, at the time it was like viral, like car videos were first becoming like a thing.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like the internet, and
Sure.
you see someone like parallel, like sliding into a parking spot.
Gotcha.
Some shit like that,
Okay.
where he was
Okay.
just like, and he's a genius with like marketing, and I mean, he's a
okay.
pretty smart guy overall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know him personally.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Apologize for
very
the car
brilliant
remark.
man. Yeah, doesn't have a little car.
It's a little car, but in the best way possible.
But his thought was to take that and to put it together like a skateboard part, and to make like a part. Like, this is my part. It just so
Interesting.
happens he's in $1 million car sliding all around a city that we've permitted and filmed, and it's a full-blown production. So the first, I remember hearing about it, and I was like, oh, that's crazy, and he was like, hey, Blaze, like, you should probably come check this out, like
Okay.
this thing that I'm doing. And I remember I was meant to go on a skate trip, and I went to Universal Studios and photographed it and sent him my selects from the first day. He's like, "You're coming back," and I'm like, "I'm actually meant to go on a trip," and he's like, "No, you're not."
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
like, well,
This
what
is more
better
important.
guy than you to tell me that I'm not going on a skate trip? At the time, he was the perfect person to do that. So, that it for me, like making a ledge look dope or making like someone going over a street gap, it's like you got a guy flying over an entire block with a car. So it's to be able to photograph it like a skate photo and tell a story in one frame is like fun. It's like and to be like, those things are a production. So I'm like, may I have a crane, please? And they're like, sure. Like, here's a crane or whatever it is. And you're like, awesome. Like it's fun. Like it's dope.
So you said you're in a neighborhood or a city, but this one you're talking about.
This one was at Universal Studios
on the back lot.
On the back lot. Like we had rented out the whole back lot and we're filming. Wow. And I remember like standing on top of one of, because all the buildings at Universal are hollow and you can go in them. And I remember going up. I remember him like, I don't know what any of the things are called.
Okay.
He's just doing this crazy thing where he took the car and slid in between like gas pumps and like a pole, and he did it first try. And I remember, because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pirouette and do this," and I'm like, "Okay, like what does that mean?"
Yeah.
Like what exactly is gonna happen? Because I know like, just like skating, sometimes you don't get more than one shot at it. And so I went up on the roof and I'm like, "Oh, if this were skating, this is how I would shoot it. Like it would be dope to shoot it like above and pull it out." And where automotive photographers and certain people maybe like shoot the car super tight and there's no point of reference. And for me, shooting skateboarding, it's always been so much fun to tell a story of what's going on, like whether it's to show the whole spot or show the kids at love or whatever that may be. So just pulling it out and like showing the whole frame and showing what's going on is so dope. Like it's so much fun. And so having the opportunity through DC to be able to like sit on a boat and watch a dude like ride his motorcycle across the ocean in Tahiti, you're just like, this is insane. It's
crazy.
It's so much fun.
That's got to shoot photos of that. That's amazing.
No, like moto. Like I remember, like 20 years ago, the moto team manager was like, same thing. Was like, would you want to shoot some moto? And I'm like, absolutely. Like I'll hang out in the bushes, drink beer, and like shoot dudes doing backflips and stuff. Like that's amazing. And same sort of thing. Like, using a fisheye lens or doing stuff that people hadn't done, but doing it through the same lens that I had seen skating for a period up to that.
There was a Ken Block photo. Did you take that photo? It's like him doing a donut or something.
Around Randy's Donuts?
Yeah, was that it? Yeah.
So that was in LA in 2014 for Gymkhana 7. And that was the same thing where I, went to Jeremy, who was the first AD on that job, and I was like, "Hey dude, may I put a crane over there in the corner?" And he was like, "All right." Like he made it happen, like he's amazing and just, kind of got me in the corner and got up on the crane. And again, like showing like the whole thing and showing what's going on. It's just like shooting a skate photo.
That's super sick because you never get those opportunities in obviously in a skate sesh to get like, let me get a crane over here and fucking shoot this. Like it's like, if that does happen, it's very rare and it's thought out. And
you have to bring
it's like
one.
a campaign type shit.
Oh,
in this type of scenario, you're just like, requesting it in the moment, which is amazing,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because those a lot of times, like, I mean, they obviously plan those very well.
Right.
And I normally come into it and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a lot of fun for me. And that's how the Kalis Bay Bridge photo happened. Amazing. Where we were, Ken had told me, he's like, "Hey dude, we're going to permit the Bay Bridge." And I'm like, "You're going to what? Like, what does that even mean?" Like, and he's like, "No, we have the Bay Bridge." And Kalis was in SF at the time filming for DGK. And I was like, "Hey dude, we may have a chance to shoot a photo pushing down the Bay Bridge. Are you down?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I'm like, our call time was like 4:30 in the morning. We staged on Treasure Island. And I didn't tell anyone from the production side of things because, ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yes.
And, but Ken knew what we were doing.
Okay.
And so I went up, we had the bridge for 4-minute intervals. I went up on the first time, see what we were doing, get any of the photographs I need for the project. And then the second time we were coming back to Treasure Island at the staging point. I called Kalis and I was like, "All right, dude, get in the last pass van. anyone asks what you're doing with your skateboard, just say you're there to help me. You're helping stills.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing more. And so the whole production went one way and we went the other way. And like, I remember Jeremy, who we're homies now, but he was losing his mind. He was just like, all kinds of bad words were coming out of his mouth.
Okay.
He was snapped,
Wow.
because it's like a whole, his job is there to keep everyone safe, keep everything on time. And here I am, the idiot, running the wrong way on the bridge towards the CHP officer, yelling at him, telling him to get out of the way so that we can get a photo of Kalis like pushing down the Bay Bridge.
So it was permitted for.
It was permitted
Ken?
for Gymkhana and the whole car project,
Oh,
but
okay.
I wanted to get a photo of
Yeah,
Kalis
yeah,
pushing because
yeah.
that's like, you can't.
But Ken knew that was going to be something that was going to be used for DC as well, right?
I mean, he just knew. He was like, yeah, of course,
There's a
like
bigger
whatever. Yeah,
purpose here.
yeah. No,
Right.
he knew that it would be a good thing.
Because they're there for something else, so you can't just like halt production and be like,
No.
"Yo, let me get this guy."
He's doing it in a down slot, right?
Right, because the cars, I mean, they're blocking traffic
Yeah.
to get this thing, so they got to. You said 4-minute intervals, so
Yeah.
then they got to let traffic go and then go
Yeah,
back to square one, right?
Those jobs are planned to the minute.
To the minute.
I mean, because it's very expensive to have an
Sure.
entire production
Holding
and
traffic
everything.
and shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's no like time for my shenanigans to go like, I want to get this photo of my homie.
Yeah,
like,
so
it's
wait
just-
more minute.
Yeah. No, there's none of that. So I literally like we ran one way and he was frantically, kind of pushing back and forth, and he did a kickflip and did a couple things and was just like, "How's that sick?" And he like grinded the little curb on the side, and he was just like,
Amazing.
"I just had to grind it." It was,
Wow.
it was
No
dope.
way.
Yeah.
Is a photo in
Fantastic.
one of these books or no? Kalis Playback book? No.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think so.
Hey, it's on-
I just want to see it.
It's available on his
because
website too.
That's
Yeah, thank you.
that part.
Get up to 30 by 40 print.
Playbackshop.com.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it this quickly, but I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Try my best. Oh, here's a sequence of the tray flip.
That's the whole sequence. Yeah, yeah,
There's a still. There's a still. There's them propping it up.
yeah.
Stevie. Okay. Let's
Maybe
go.
it's towards the end because it's semi-chronological.
Okay.
So I could be wrong. I mean,
Goes
it's been a
by.
minute.
I mean, these photos are
Yes.
incredible.
So many photos of Josh.
Oh my god.
It's amazing to have had. I mean, it's not like we're done, but like it's dope to have done the same thing with the same person. That's so. I mean, it's what we all do is very obscure. So yes, that.
Like looking at that from the outside looking in, you're like, how the hell
Did they get
did
that?
they get this? Like, look, it's empty. This doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Good luck. Oh, they photoshopped the cars out, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no. I've submitted that when Maring was making the Nat Geo book. I submitted that photo because it was like spots all around the world. It's an amazing book, and they requested the raw file to make sure that I did not Photoshop it.
they wanted
because
to
that's like a
check
thing.
it.
Nat Geo,
Yeah.
they don't want things. They don't want any
And they were
shenanigans.
like-
Right.
They were
Yeah.
like, congratulations.
Well, there was a CHP car right there, but I yelled at him. I was like, "You're in the way. You're in the shot. You gotta move.
Oh,
like, you
seriously?
gotta get out of there." Yeah.
And he moved.
Oh yeah. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like I was like, "You better be."
I love that. Playback's yelling to a CHP officer, get out the way.
Yeah, yeah.
We're skating here.
Yes.
Amazing.
I mean, when else are you gonna have a chance to do that?
And this is like, and to get a photo like this as well, that's like so spontaneous. Like this isn't planned. This is like, did you tell him where to go, or I'm going to be here? You go along. Did you have a little bit of like pre-planning?
Yeah. No. I mean, I kind of had the idea in my head.
Yeah.
Of where to go, and I mean, there's that photo more than most photos I've ever shot in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, what if I was up higher and framed him against the road, and like, what if I had him pushing down the center, which I didn't because.
I think that's better.
That's better.
I think
Well,
so. For me.
yeah, I mean, but for me, like growing up shooting photos in magazines, you don't want to have someone in the gutter.
Right.
Now it's the center of the feed. Like it doesn't matter, but you don't want them to have them in the gutter. So that's why I had
Right.
them. Plus, like the rule of thirds, it's nice to have them off to the left.
Oh,
Anyway.
it's such a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I remember that Jeremy, who again is the first AD on that job, he was snapped. Like he was so mad.
Really?
And I was just like, come on, dude. Like, look at this. And he was like, all right, that's pretty sick.
And you showed them after the fact.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fuck,
I showed him back the camera, and he was like, okay, that's.
I heard, or what's that thing that happened recently with Evan? and Papke on like what bridge was that? Did you have to cover?
Not
it?
the same scenario.
Yeah. They
They did get arrested.
yeah they were rogue on that one.
Yeah, no,
right?
they just charged it.
What bridge?
Bay Bridge.
Bay Bridge.
As a Bay
Same
Bridge.
thing,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Evan had to cover a Thrasher. There's a new one that just came out, but it's the
that's
issue
on the
before
side.
last.
Yeah.
It's out of it's the opening of Evan's new part. Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, I heard this last week that like they got arrested and they took his camera.
Yes.
And then they
impounded the camera.
Impounded the
And
camera. Gave the camera back later with the with the card still all good to go.
Yes.
And they had the photo on it
Yep.
still.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't erase it.
Yeah.
No.
That's awesome.
You know, Papke, I think, got a
As
new
is.
camera. I mean, I'm going off of the caption of
Sure.
the photo in Thrasher.
Sure.
But yeah, just had a court date. Judge was like, whatever, let him go. Went to the,
That's crazy.
to get their stuff back, and card
Yeah,
was still
so-
in there. Photos, amazing.
So just to get a reference to people, that's what you did was pretty. That's never gonna probably happen again,
I mean,
unless they rent it out like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
unless they rent it out.
So like for them to get that photo, like Papke and
Yeah, it's amazing.
is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Well, I haven't seen the photo, but that you're talking about. But there are cars in it, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is partially probably why they got arrested.
Sure.
It's probably, yeah.
Yeah, you're in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
They
Anytime.
didn't get that 4-minute interval.
They didn't get it on the
No.
yell at the CHP. Get out of here.
No, we got shut down actually because Ken, the third time up, did donuts on the bridge, which she wasn't supposed to do, and people thought there was a terrorist attack on the bridge because there's this big plume of smoke coming off the Bay Bridge, and people were lighting up the cops. Yeah.
Okay.
So they were like, and we were on there a little too long. And so that we got shut down.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
No more. So luckily we didn't wait until the fourth time because there was no fourth time. So yeah. So we went up the second time because I was very anxious about doing that. That was like my whole
This was-
focus.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do that. I mean, of course, I wanted to actually concentrate on doing my job.
Sure.
for Ken.
Right.
But that as a skater, I was like, I really want to get that. You know.
And let's talk about really quickly the guy that motorcycling on the ocean. Dirt bike, whatever it was.
Whatever that was.
His little dirt bike.
Yeah, Robbie Madison.
Robbie Madison.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, did they just tell you? Listen, we got this thing. You're gonna go. This guy's gonna motorbike on the ocean. You're like, what? And
Well, so that one in particular, I mean, I was like a fourth shooter, basically. I had some family stuff going on, and like, it was just, it was kind of a difficult time, but they were like, we just want you to go and do whatever you want to do. Because they had already had, they had a surf photographer, they had just a bunch of people with giant lenses. They were there, and I just took a little Leica rangefinder camera and just sat on the boat and just had the best time ever, just shooting dudes riding motorcycles across the ocean. It was insane. But I mean, some of my stuff from there I really like because it was very scenic and just it was dope to see it. Like, I mean, Tahiti is a gorgeous
so
place.
amazing.
Oh, Chris Ray was there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Chris
No,
Ray
he was in
filmed
the
a-
trenches the
Yeah.
whole time. Like, I was on a different, I was like showing up with my little camera.
Your
and
local
stuff.
little point and shoot.
Yeah, a little point and shoot in the boat.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But what an amazing opportunity to experience that.
No, I
in
mean,
real
it's-
life.
No, it's
I mean,
insane.
wow.
No, and some of those, like even like with the Ken projects, it's like, the Crown Prince is like a huge Ken fan, so we were like, one of the things that we were going to shoot was, and it all sounds so ridiculous. I mean, it was a Ford Raptor on 2 wheels, and he was doing donuts around it down the main freeway in Dubai. So we shut down the entire freeway for like 4 hours because they were like, sure, like go ahead and do it. So it's insane where I'm like, not only am I in Dubai, but I'm literally standing in the center of the road, and there's a dude doing donuts around it's like crazy.
Driving, they were driving, and he was doing donuts around him.
A Ford Raptor is a giant truck.
Yeah.
Like a big giant truck on 2 wheels, so like sideways.
Right.
And he's doing donuts around it, coming at me with like Dubai, like in the background. Like, it's so much fun, to like shoot. It's insane, and it's
These are not your everyday, scenes.
no, it's
that you're
amazing.
shooting.
Like, it's fun.
Have you seen anyone get like kind of fucked up during the shoots?
So I've asked. And like well, because there's safety people on set, and those are the funnest things because it kind of has a skateboarding feel to it, although they are very safe, and they're not winging it by any stretch of the imagination.
Sure.
And I've asked Ken, I'm like, hey, like my out is here to the left. You always stay on your feet in some way, shape, or form, so
Yeah.
you can at least try to spring out of the way. But that car stops, and his reaction time is amazing, and so I trust that he can. But that one, it's like, the car, the ass end of the car was probably no more than like 10 feet away from me.
Wow.
And so
God.
with a 6,000-pound truck on two wheels and him going around it in donuts is pretty sketchy and loud and crazy. So it's like you got to be steady and like try and make sure that everything's in focus and like make sure it's framed up right. And but it's fun. It's like it's the same feeling as like jumping over a fence and like getting into a school and getting out of there with like what you want to get. It's the same type of feeling, but with
Standing in the middle of the Dubai freeway.
yeah.
I mean, nobody else gets to do that.
No.
It's fun, yeah.
It's a rare
No,
occasion.
it's incredible. So it's afforded me the ability to do that and capture that. And I've, I obviously tried really hard to do the best job possible.
Yeah.
And coming from years of skating and studying photography and that kind of thing, it's like it's fun for me to like shoot that kind of stuff and time, again, tell a story.
Exactly. That's amazing. I've heard it was the Prince of Dubai. I've heard he's like
Yes.
super into all this like action sports stuff,
Yes.
skateboarding and whatever, the jetpacks, hang gliding, the parachuting.
There's some
They're
jetpacks.
Flying around.
Bro, they have fucking jetpacks.
No,
out
there
there,
was a dude flying around
See?
out there. Yeah. There was dudes.
Kelly
on-
laughs, but dude, this,
No,
is,
but
I-
he
this
said
is like
skateboarding and jetpacks.
yo, this is
Just like-
facts. He
No,
loves that shit.
They had like every car you could ever, like Bugattis and Lamborghinis.
They do everything big there.
There were cop cars, and like it was insane. Like it was crazy. Yeah, it's fun. It was amazing.
What other jobs like that have you done that stand out to you? Anything?
I mean, those to me are like fun. I do a lot of other. I mean, I'm thankful that I get to do a lot of other commercial work.
got you.
A lot of automotive stuff with like Ford, and like, but just what?
I just remembered. I don't want to interrupt your story, but I remembered the Chris Ray story. Did you watch? Did he? Where he told
Yes.
told the story of you couldn't make it to some photo shoot. It was like Ford or whatever. These
I was double booked.
You were
yeah.
double booked,
Yeah.
and then you said, "Hey, Chris Ray," and Chris Ray's like, "I don't know. I don't shoot photos. Like, I don't." You're like, "You're good. You got it."
I was like, yes, you do.
"Yes, you do."
Yes,
No matter what anybody asks,
I love
you
that.
shoot
Yeah.
photos.
Straight
Yeah.
up.
No, I was like, you do. And Chris is the kind of guy that like that like he will.
He will.
He's not going to fail,
Right.
like at all, in any way, shape, or form. And he will not only fail, he will do a good job.
Yeah.
And he will be there early. And like
Right.
all the stuff you want, checked.
There you go.
He's good.
I love it.
So yeah, like so I was like, dude, just go in your neighborhood and like this is what you put your camera on and like just shoot cars coming at you and like frame, just frame it looser. People need to crop for different things. Make sure, I just gave him a lot of tips of how
tips,
to do
yeah.
things, and
And it
he
worked.
killed it.
He
Oh,
handled
killed
it.
Yeah, I know. All the stuff got used. They were
Love
stoked.
that.
Yeah.
He was telling the story. We were laughing.
Yeah.
It's like this dude. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm a photographer." You
No, he
know?
said that someone on set was like, "Aren't you Chris Ray?" Because they were skated. You know
"Oh,
what I
that's
mean?
right.
Like,
That's
yeah.
right." And he was
Yeah.
like, "Shh, don't
Yeah.
say it." Today I'm a photographer.
I got
Yeah.
this.
Which that is another thing within that world. It's so amazing that my, just being in skateboarding for so long now, creative directors and art buyers and people at agencies grew up skating, and they're like, "Wait, like you shot Koston's noseblunt?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I did." And they're like, "Well, you're the same person," and I'm like, "Yeah, like that's
Haven't
yeah.
changed.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
it a trip?
It's a trip. Yeah, no, it's
Skaters are everywhere.
You never went to any films or like photo school or anything like that?
no.
No, okay.
No.
Because I always just love when people just kind of figure it out on their own. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, learning, how to shoot, like learning how to hold a camera and learning how to process and print film at home just by trial and error and reading books
Right.
and that kind of thing. And then I went to go to community college in Lansing in Michigan, and I remember I enrolled in school and they were like, "No, you got to do it. I remember like the first day they're like, no, you have to do it this way. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, there's no one way to do anything creative. Like, it doesn't matter as long as the end result is dope.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's not the way we teach here. And I was like, cool, I want to get my money back.
Yeah,
and
I'm out.
I used that money to move to San Francisco. And like,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
the money, yeah.
Dude,
'Cause
blessing in disguise.
no,
Straight
absolutely.
up.
Because I worked in a camera store growing up as a kid, and I assisted a guy at, shoot like weddings and stuff like
Sure,
that. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
It's all about taking a chance on yourself. You believed in yourself at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. You know, 'cause no one can tell you like that's not the way to do it. Like, okay, and then
Plus-
years later, look,
It wasn't
I know.
that well thought out.
it's okay. You know what? It's okay. You were destined because you believed in yourself, and look, things come in time. It takes time to get to a certain plateau of where you think you should be. And fuck, 20. How many years now? You've been
Yeah.
shooting photos.
Professionally, 27.
I mean,
Crazy.
there you go.
Hey, when
There
you're
you go.
passionate about something, it just takes the way.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, especially creative.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be a doctor, you can't practice.
You should go to yeah.
You can't like practice cutting people.
Kelly, I got a
open.
scalpel, and
I really
have
like
this,
scalping.
No, well, I have this new hobby. I want to become a doctor.
But anything
I'll
creative,
sterilize
and I'm not discouraging anyone from going to school. Like, I mean, it's as long as you can use the facilities at the school, and depends on how you approach it. Just in my particular case, I
Right.
didn't want to be told how I should be like developing film, or I didn't want to like. I was like, well, this is how I do it, and the end result isn't terrible. So,
right.
in
Just a little
hindsight, it
blurry.
was a good.
Just a little blurry.
I mean, I didn't even know that.
Was it just as sharp as elbow?
Yeah.
So, but you're right though. I mean, listen, school's great, but don't let it deter you if you don't get into school, because if you're passionate about something, you're going to figure it out. You're going
Yes.
to learn about it.
Exactly.
It's like
Well,
It's like us skateboarders, man.
yeah,
Like,
nothing's taught in a textbook for skating, right?
No.
You got to get out there and try and do it.
Well, I mean, that's just how we all do
Yeah.
everything. Like I approach photography the same way that you just try a trick over and over again until you land it. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, like I just figure it out and okay, that looks good, like it's. And plus like I'd been shooting for about 5 years, but then when I did start working for DC, I went in the deep end. Like as far as like the stakes got a little bit higher because it was just like, oh, we're gonna build this mega ramp thing, or like, oh, you have to shoot this portrait of Danny with like a helicopter flying over his head,
Like
and you
money
gotta
is
figure
being
out
spent.
you have to figure out how to light it, and you're shooting film, and you have to like. You can't blow it because then
Right.
then you're not going to be there anymore. So I was smart enough to know that, so I didn't blow it. Even when I did blow it, I would be like, "Nope, I didn't blow it. I
That
killed
looked
it."
you.
I'm gonna use this little sharpen tool right here. I'm gonna sharpen this up a little bit.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask some stuff about like actually I don't even know, like just the time period of the DC video.
Yes.
I mean, I love that video, but also like the skating that was going down, and then also like this Robin Big and like all that stuff. What was it like at that time shooting all that stuff?
It was so much fun, even though at times Greg and I wanted to kill each other because we were attached at the hip. Like we traveled the world together. I mean, we would go to Spain, and the mega ramp was one of the gnarliest endeavors because it was so far in the middle of nowhere. And I never missed a single session the entire time. And it was so hard because I remember Danny yelling at me, being like, dude, why are you going to shoot this ledge at USC? Fucking, these guys are doing this knee-high ledge bullshit, and I'm going fucking 45 miles an hour, and I'm like, yeah, dude, but like there's more guys on the team than just you. I'm sorry. And they all really matter too. So
Right.
like, there's only one of me, like, so please. So it was like a lot, we were kind of like, we were
All over
traveling.
the place.
Yeah. But the mega ramp stuff obviously stands out because it was something that no one had ever done before.
Right.
But just in general, like everything was, we knew that like, Ave, like his skating was so special, and Stevie's part was so amazing, and like everything was incredible. I mean, Robin Big, like that sketch was like insane.
Yeah.
Like it was all just a culmination of just hard work and everyone going in the same direction, and just doing what we were all at the time pretty good at. So
Yeah. I just on a random note, I remember being at DC. I was flowed for DC for a little bit. I remember being there when Brian Dvorak was TM.
Yes.
And I remember it was with Rob McKinley, and I heard you might have you weren't there because you probably were shooting the sequence. I hear a call from Dvorak, and he's like, oh yeah, and I heard, like, what happened? He's like, Abe got the trick. It was the nollie crook revert.
I was there shooting.
Oh, you were shooting that,
Yes.
and I heard like there was this crazy story about how,
dude.
like,
Yeah.
what had happened with that.
We're talking about USC, right?
USC.
Nollie crook around
the
the
nollie
corner.
crook revert.
Right.
Yeah. And I was shooting a sequence, and it's film. So every try was a roll of film.
Yeah.
Every try. Because, Abe going 100 miles an hour, hair flying, like nollie crook around the corner almost every single time. So every single try, I'd have to pull the film out,
Wow.
throw it away.
Okay.
And so, but Abe was going to the spot the first day and apparently like got into it with someone and just a random student. And the dude, he didn't get the trick the first day. The second day, the dude came back, demolished the ledge with like a sledgehammer.
Oh.
Sledgehammer. So Greg fixed it, bondoed it, didn't get the trick. Dude sledgehammered it again.
Oh my!
And I
gosh.
lived in San Diego, at that time. So I was driving from SD to USC back and forth.
Okay.
And so then like the day 4 drove up and he did it. And that was the one that, I'd shot in black and white because I was like, I have to know that I got this. Because it was sketchy, you know what I mean? It was like he grinded so long, that sequence, we took frames out of it for the ad, but it was almost 36 frames because he grinded for so long. And so like I went home, literally drove straight home from USC, processed the film, looked at it, and was like,
sure you
we're
got
good.
it.
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
How many photos are in a roll? 36? Mm-hmm. From start to the whole roll.
How many
Well,
rolls?
because you want to make sure you get the roll up.
Yes.
And then the nollie and the crook. And if you just stop shooting, which people did, like
Yeah.
in manual tricks and stuff.
Well, they
it
would
just looks like-
save the film and then get the second half of the trick, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So like, yeah.
Right.
Plus, it was just like a thing where like I could get the film, and at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time, film was not nearly what it costs today. I mean, it was still I was using 3200 speed film, so that I could get everything in focus from start to finish. And sorry, camera class again.
No,
but,
I don't know what you're talking about. I love it.
But it's still like whatever, $6 maybe a roll. And I probably used about 100,
That's what I was about to say.
probably about 120 rolls.
I mean, I feel the pain.
So it's probably about
dude.
750.
Yeah, that's worth it.
As a skater, seeing that pile next to the photographer
Oh my
was
God.
fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Unless you're Danny.
I mean,
I
I'm
remember-
not Danny.
I remember
so
running
I'm
out of
just-
film at the ramp and him being like, dude, what the fuck? You're out of film. And I'm like, yeah, it was 100 rolls. Like, and he was like, you should always have at least 1,000 rolls of film at the ramp. And I'm like, I should always have 1,000 rolls of film. That's $5,000, dude. And he was like, so? That doesn't matter.
Yes!
He wants to get his trick, dude.
Fucking Danny, dude. I
He's
loved
like,
I should have had the same attitude, bro.
So I guess you shouldn't have felt bad. But that was, he's just like, dude, I'm not doing easy shit over here. Takes a lot of film.
I mean,
He's right.
I
He's dead ass.
Wait, how did he approach you about this mega ramp thing? Like, he's like, hey, I got this idea. We're gonna build this ramp. Like what?
well, the mega ramp in the DC video was, he wanted to, because he always had these crazy ideas. It was like, the super ramp in 97 where he jumped out of the helicopter. It was like always something that was like bigger and crazier than what anyone, just, I mean, he just wanted to push skateboarding.
Right.
You
And
know,
himself.
And himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just
He's
had that in
gnarly.
him,
Right.
know? And then, so he wanted to go further and higher than anyone. So Ocean Pacific random company had OP had this thing called King of Skate in 2002. And it was like a pay-per-view event, and they did it with Skateboarder magazine. So that's where the original mega ramp
Interesting.
was.
Oh.
And he went like, I think he went like 65 feet. Yeah, I'm sure he'll correct me on Thursday. And then did like a 16.5-foot backside air. So he did like the furthest distance and the highest at the time, like backside air. So, from building that, because, skateboarding, as we all know, is not the most like exact science.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was just from that, then the mega ramp for the DC video got built. And it was like, he learned from that first experience to make like a bigger roll in. The quarter pipe had to be a certain way.
Right.
You know,
Just
just
trial and error.
literally trial and error.
Yeah.
Even China was trial and error, where it was like that's why he broke his foot.
The Great Wall.
The Great Wall. Because the ramp, the roll in wasn't big enough. There was humidity in the air.
Oh my God.
And the takeoff ramp wasn't quite like steep enough, I think. But nonetheless, he came up short, like very short, and that's how he broke his foot
And
to
he
oblivion.
still
Wow.
went and did it.
And did it.
Yeah, the
Right.
next day.
Yeah.
He's out of his mind.
No, it was insane. And
Were you there for that?
I was.
Oh.
I remember him calling my room the morning of, and China had a national work stoppage, and they were like snapped because he was not meant to skate any time other than when the Chinese government had told everyone they could not, that they had to watch this while he skated. So he wasn't allowed to skate other than when they had the national work stoppage.
So the national work stoppage was for that?
For that, so everyone in the country could see this like glorious
Spectate.
moment of this guy jumping over their Great Wall.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So he called me the next morning. He's like, dude, it's kind of a lot of pressure. And I was like, you know what?
It's a lot
It
of
is.
people in that country.
Yeah, I was like, there's only a few billion people watching. It's no big deal.
With a B.
With a B. Yeah. And a broken foot.
And a
That was taped up. It was
Double
Oh,
gnarly.
wait, so
Double
he
B.
broke his foot in the practice.
He broke his foot the day before
Trying
testing.
it.
He's
Testing
like,
it.
He's like, dude, I gotta test this ramp out.
Right.
Like, I gotta do this. I gotta figure out how to skate this. And there are all these Chinese officials there, and
wow.
he's like trying to take photos with him and trying to like get him out of there,
Yeah.
so he can skate his ramp. Like he's like, dude, I want to skate this thing, but he wasn't allowed to. And so by the time they had left and he rolled in and skated, it was, the air was more humid, and he just realized the ramp wasn't built right.
Wow.
Long story short, no
Under
pun
these
intended.
conditions. Under these conditions.
Yeah, and he came up hella short. Damn. And so then the government found out that he skated and broke his foot, and they were snapped. They wanted to dead the whole thing right then and there. And I don't know, some behind the scenes negotiation. I don't know what happened.
yeah.
I was in the lobby eating pizza. Hoping that this guy, his foot would be okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
we brought a doctor with him, and they went to the hospital and whatever x-rayed his foot and numbed it, taped it, and his foot was literally like taped together.
Wow.
And I remember we showed up in that morning when he was finally like allowed to skate, and he was hobbling. I mean, he couldn't walk. And they had put this like basically sheets of plywood down the roll in, and he was like, dude, take that off there. I cannot roll in there. And I just remember them they're like, really? And they took it all off, and it was just like, 65 foot, whatever it was, roll in on the edge, just a sheer drop. I mean, you go off of that and you're dead, like guaranteed you're not living. And with a broken foot, it was so gnarly, and just seeing those like things, and even like how he pushed skating, like with the mega ramp, the very first time he rolled in on the mega ramp, he like took off and went like sideways in the air and landed and got like masonite burn all up his side. And he was just like, fuck, like screaming. I was like, whoa, like this is gnarly, and just seeing him like push himself through those scenarios is insane.
Gnarly.
I mean, listen, the guy broke his neck surfing.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's been through.
Gnarly.
It's insane.
So wait, they didn't modify the ramp after he knew he didn't.
He came up short.
Yeah, he came up short in breaking
So they
his foot?
did. The ramp. The guys that built the ramp were modifying it.
Okay.
All the while behind the scenes, I think government was pissed and
Right.
so on and so forth. But if you look at, there's like a piece, whatever it was, like a 4 feet, like added to the top
Okay.
of the roll in, and I think they did something to the takeoff ramp, and they just made these minor adjustments
Right.
to where it would pitch him the right way.
Right.
But that's the fascinating and amazing thing about skating, and that's what we all do. Like you see a spot and you're like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Where when you photograph other things, there's a dude sitting there with like a computer and measuring wind speed and knows the weight of the car or the motorcycle, and it's like an exact science.
Sure.
Skating ain't like that.
No.
No, and it's I don't think it's meant to be.
No,
it's
no,
like,
absolutely.
like even with the rail, I remember him, he's like, I remember we were driving out one time, and Danny was on the phone with Deerdick, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna build this rail, and I'm gonna front crook it, and I'm gonna back, I'm gonna nose blunt it, and I'm gonna do all this stuff
on the mega ramp.
On the mega ramp,
Right,
he's
right.
like, "Yeah, I want to do a front crook going 45 miles an hour," and I'm just like sitting in the back of the car, going like, "All right, like,
Eating pizza in the back of the car.
just made something." Just remember thinking like, this dude's nuts. You know what I mean? And so we went out, and like he sent Jake Brown down, and he was just like, just kind of go off the takeoff ramp so he can get the trajectory of how he was going in the air to determine where he was going to place the rail.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
And I'm like, Jake and you ain't the same size, right? And he was like, doesn't matter. Like, and I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. And sure enough, he got it right. But it's still so sketchy because you're going 45 miles an hour at an uncapped piece of steel.
Yeah.
And like there's the photograph of his board, and it's in the DC video.
Yeah.
And his board is like this far in an uncapped
We're
piece
talking
of
about
steel.
like 3 inches, 2 inches.
Yeah,
My
because
good
it's
God.
it's so sketchy. Because imagine that would literally either cut your leg off or go right through
What
you
about
and kill
like
you.
a little piece of foam on the end of it?
There was no safety. No cell phone reception, no medical team, we were just in the desert, like just drinking and
So only you and Greg would go out there?
so there was a couple other people on camera. I was the only guy shooting stills. Greg, of course, Brian, or like someone like to support, Danny. There was just like a few of us out in the desert all the time. Just us. Like, and we would camp out there.
Okay.
And
Really?
Sleep. Yeah.
Wow.
Sleep out there.
So he built the rail. It was kind of like a little rainbow rail. He
Yes.
figured out he needed a
He knew that it
little
needed to
arc.
be like had an arc to
Right.
it. Yeah.
So the first try he goes down, what's he trying? Board slide?
He's just trying to grind it.
Just 50-50.
Yeah, and just ollied out to it, and the board like stuck in the end. And I
That's
was
the
like,
first attempt.
That was one of the first attempts, and I was like, "Wow, that's sketchy."
Jesus.
Like again, I was probably hammered at the time. I was like, "Whoa,
Eating pizza,
this is sketchy."
drinking beer.
Yeah,
How many rolls of film do you bring?
a lot, not 1,000, but a lot. Because I was shooting stills, for the most part. Some of the stuff was sequences, but I knew it was so massive that like the nose blunt slide was just like, I'd shoot him. I didn't need to shoot the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Get him at the peak.
So you'd go shoot Annie, and then maybe a couple days later go skate with Brian Wedding, do a switch Smith shove it on a ledge or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah, or like hightail it from USC straight to the middle of the desert and meet up with everyone out there and shoot Danny, maybe camp for a night or two, come home, refresh for like a day, go back to LA.
That's
to
so
Spain.
sick.
You were on the grind.
It was gnarly. It was fun.
Whereabouts in the desert
Super
was it?
fun.
It was inland from Temecula, about an hour and a half inland from Temecula. And it's a town called Awonga.
Awonga.
Yeah,
They must have
AG.
permitted it out and built the thing.
There was some kind of like sketchy skate camp there.
Point X.
Point X, yeah.
Okay.
Sketchy
yeah.
skate camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some like drugs or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine
I
a
don't
skate
wanna-
camp in like at 110 degrees heat all day long.
Yes, it was brutal. Like
Yeah.
it was gnarly, and there's like rattlesnakes and like, what I mean. It was like
Sounds like the worst.
That's Temecula.
I mean, it was pretty. I mean, but it was like, luckily the ramp was built in a way to where it looked good because it was built in a way that I can get back and at least try and give it some sense of scale.
Got you.
Because if you shoot something really big with a wide lens,
Right.
it kind of just does. As weird as that sounds, it doesn't look the same.
Got you.
But it was. I didn't mind the heat and the terrible conditions, given like I was witnessing someone like push skateboarding like he
Yeah.
was, so it was like fun for me to be there and at the time it was like no one knew about it because there was no
Yeah.
social media,
Right.
So that was after the rail and everything was like after the actual DC video came out, and so I remember I just kept shooting everything, and just put it into a binder, and Ken met with Dave and Grant and those dudes when they started the Skateboard Mag, and that's how it ended up being on the cover of the first issue of the
That's
Skateboard
right.
Mag.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember I had a binder, like a 3-inch binder, just filled with film, all that stuff, like the Captain Noseblunt slide and like the front crook and just everything,
And he would be the only one skating it.
Yes.
So no one else was skating.
Well, you said Jake Brown would, but he would have his own sessions.
Yeah, at that point, because that was the DC video was only Danny.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was up until June of 2003. And then afterwards, the latter half of 2003 is when the deluxe edition came out. And that's when there was more footage, and that's when the Mega Rail, his part was re-edited with the Mega Rail footage.
Right. I was wondering. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck was that in?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the deluxe edition DVD
Gotcha.
is what it was. So
When I first saw that shit, I was fucking blown away, dude. I
think we
was
all
like,
were,
what
man.
the hell is this dude?
Dude, I was so
it's
hyped.
crazy.
It was insane because it had my favorite like street skaters in it, and then it had this incredible part from
my
Danny. Like,
God.
Yeah.
it was mind blowing for sure. I went to that premiere. That was one of the coolest things ever.
At the Chinese theater?
I'm tripping. I did not. I went to the girl premiere, but I remember. I don't know why I said that, but because I asked. I couldn't make it to that premiere.
Yeah.
But I was just like, all I wanted to do was that was the one premiere I missed, and I wanted to go so bad. Fuck. I don't know why I said I went there when I didn't, but it's all good.
You wanted it to happen. You know?
Because because Robbie was in it, and that
Yes.
was like one of my clothes, and Ryan Gallant, and I was like,
Yep.
and Brian Wenning had a part. I didn't know
Brian
him then, but
Wenning did have a part.
he had a part, and he's my favorite skater.
Yeah,
so
no. He's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, it was fun. Like the Robin Big stuff was amazing. And like, yeah.
What's it like seeing Deerdeck to what he's like now, dude? He's such like a
It makes
famous-
total sense.
Yeah, it does.
Well, it does.
do.
I mean, when,
agree.
you know, we were kids, I mean, I would call it kids now in our young 20s. He
Yeah.
always had insane ideas. He's like, I'm going to do this record label, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do that. I'm like, yeah, sure, dude. Like, look, can we just go skating? Like, I don't, that's a little much for me right
Yeah,
now.
he was definitely
Right.
forward thinking on
Yeah.
on his business tip on what he wanted to do for sure.
World record stuff. He was doing that for a
Yeah,
while.
dude.
So he's always been pinned in sixth gear. So it makes sense that he's a very successful person.
Right.
Yep.
But it's funny the Robin Big thing came about because he didn't have a ton of footage for the video. And he had seen, you know, he knew what Danny had, he knew what Abe had, and he'd seen Stevie and Josh's parts. And he, you know, like, so, you know, and he was just like, man, the streets, like I keep getting kicked out. And that's how like the skit that he and Greg came up with Big.
yeah.
And so, yeah.
So
How did he find Big?
So Greg called a bunch of security agencies in La Jolla, down in, you know, San Diego area, and was like, I want the biggest dude you got. Like, give me the biggest dude
wow.
you got. And Chris Big showed
Yeah.
up, and we'd made this jacket for him. It was like a double extra large jacket, and it was like, it said Deerdick Security on the back, and like we were like, hey, try this on. And the sleeves like came to here on him. Like, he was massive. And, and he's like he was like such a charismatic, like genuinely like rad dude. And we were like, perfect. Like, he was literally like,
Like it couldn't have
Met
been
up
any
with
better.
He's super
No
nice.
way.
They don't
It
need
was
to
super
look any
nice,
further.
dude.
Right. We got him.
couldn't have worked out any better. And he was like, yeah, I just remember when we were filming all that stuff, I was like, this is amazing. You know, like,
super happy go lucky, like let's go.
best dude.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting hired for this? Like, okay.
no, he was like, this is way easier than being a
That's
bouncer.
what, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, dealing with drunk people. Like, he's like, you're just a bunch of skateboard kids. Like, we're gonna go to LA, and you know, I'm gonna talk to another security guard. Like, sure. Like,
was
remember
that-
we went to Jaquan, and like,
Yeah.
yeah. We just went to skate, and the security guard came out. And, you
Oh,
know.
that was real.
Yeah, it was pretty real.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
These days we would say it was loosely scripted.
Right. Okay.
We're gonna see what happens.
But the other guy was actually the
He was
security
actually
guy.
the security
Got
guard.
you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. But I mean, look at this happenstance, right? You're a guy, security guard in what, La Jolla, you said, or something, and then all of a sudden you get in this DC video. Now you're on a TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, your life
MTV.
changes.
Yeah.
Life changes
Like,
like, that.
overnight.
wow.
Over a
Yeah.
random call.
Random happenstance. Like, dude, like that's. I trip out on stuff like that. Life-changing things
Oh, yeah.
that happen
That you
out
don't
of
even
nowhere.
forecast. You're
No.
just like
No.
random. Got the phone call like, show up to a security. Okay.
Yeah,
And
let's
then
go.
Here we go.
Boom.
That's why you always got to show up.
You always take the meeting, always
Yeah.
show
Show
up.
up.
You never
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
You never
Don't
know.
ask any questions. Be like, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Mike says, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, anyone asks me, I'm like, yep, I do that.
Yep.
Sure.
Chris
I'll
Ray,
figure
you
it out.
are a photographer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Man,
100%.
so
Even
rad.
motivating people that really hadn't even thought about doing
Right,
that.
right.
Like, Chris is like, okay, I guess I can do it.
Yeah, he did. He killed it.
Man, I love it, bro. You've got to experience some of the most iconic, raddest shit in skateboarding and outside of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
no, it's
I mean,
fun.
with Ken Block and doing all the donuts around Randy's Donuts and the street and I mean the bridge and
Yeah.
holy shit,
Yeah.
man. I mean, and listen, Kalis Photo, Koston, Stevie, 3 of many. But dude, these are like, for me, like these are the most iconic.
They're special moments.
They're
in
special.
skateboarding.
It's very
Skateboarding,
special.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, it's
dude.
like I'm feel lucky that I'm, always have that I get to be there to shoot that stuff. So I'm like, I don't want to blow it.
Right.
I want to do the best job I possibly can, and that's what my frame of mind always like trying to do that stuff.
I get hit up, and listen, I'm not a photographer, filmer, whatever. But I get hit up on Instagram. Sometimes people will be like, "Hey, dude, how do I want to film or I want to take photos and whatever." I'm just like, "Yo, go shoot with your friends." Like,
Yeah.
how do you end up, like you coming from Michigan, coming out here, like everything just, you didn't try to get, like everything just happened, right?
Yeah.
Well, you tried,
No, you
but
tried.
No. But from the Scott Johnston photo, he was folding shirts at Gap, right?
true.
You
Yeah.
didn't really want to, you weren't mixing the two worlds yet.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I guess where I'm going with this, what advice nowadays with everything going on, social media, I mean, photography, I don't even know if it's that, like, lucrative nowadays in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what would you tell somebody?
I just tell people to just keep shooting.
That's it.
As silly and as simple as that address,
Yeah.
that answer seems, it's just like anything else. It's like skating. Like the more you shoot, the more of a style you develop,
Right.
and the better you'll get. And who knows what you're going to end up photographing?
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
I find myself in all kinds of scenarios these days where I'm like, how did I end up here? Not even outside of like what we
Sure.
were chatting about,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
commercial work and things like that. So it's like I always just tell kids like, you just have to keep shooting
Right.
and just keep trying to get better. I mean, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
You never like you want to always keep pushing yourself and being a critic of what you do and
Right.
like trying to get better. So yeah,
You
just
haven't
keep
reached that
shooting.
final level in your photography.
I don't think
I
there
don't
is
think
a
there
fun
is
That's what I'm
level,
saying.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like, yeah, you're gonna constantly keep learning.
Yeah.
It's like skating, right? There's always tricks to learn. There's always stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Even going back to the basics, right? If you
Yes.
haven't kickflipped in a long time, you go kickflip. Basic trick.
Totally.
Almost the first trick, second trick you learn, right? Learn how to
Yeah.
ollie, kickflip. But I guess so. I'm telling them the right thing, right? Just keep film or photograph your friends. Because Instagram's a funny place. You never know who's looking at it. You
No.
never know who will, go on
true.
the little explore page or find something
Yeah.
and see something in
Yeah, yeah.
somebody. Different world.
Yeah, I mean it's a trip. It's actually for me, it's fun because I can go sort of back to shooting photos of like pure skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like what like I don't I'm like I don't have to be like, oh my god, I have to get we have to get this like 26 stair like noseblunt side to get the cover. It's just and skateboarding's in a place like that now where it's very pure and like it's
Definitely.
so for me it's fun. It's like it's as fun now as it was
Right.
27 years ago to
Yeah.
shoot stuff.
Yeah.
And to shoot like if I'm at Muni and someone's doing something on a ledge, I'm like, hey, can I shoot that? It's like the same shit. You know what I mean? Like, come
Sick.
on, like,
Crazy.
Yeah, it's fun.
20-something years later.
Yeah.
Same protocol.
Same protocol. I love that all the Love Park dudes, like all the Philly, like they were Love Park and now they're like across the street.
Literally across
It's
the street.
amazing. Like skating a spot that you couldn't really hit back in the day.
No.
They've created this whole new
Yes.
spot.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible.
You were able to skate that spot, but you would definitely get kicked out, right?
Definitely get kicked
Yeah.
out.
Now you're chilling.
You're
No.
kind of chilling. It just like Love
Why
was.
does it seem like you're chilling right now?
I know.
Well, they're consistently trying to skate there
Okay.
regardless if they
Cool.
get kicked out
Yeah,
or
I
not.
mean, it's, the ledges get knobbed, they go and knob them. You know what I
Straight
mean? It's
run-
like
run, chill, skate.
they, yeah.
Right.
So,
if the cops are there, they'll like wait outside and side. Like wait, you know what I mean? They'll some days they can't skate at all, right?
yeah, some days a cop will just post up there.
Yeah.
Just, like, what are you doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, taxpayer dollars to
Yeah.
to do. Just
It's cool,
marinate.
though.
Yeah,
I like it. Dude.
I mean, it makes it special.
Definitely.
It does.
You know, listen, I mean, like the Westlake Courthouse, you know, God bless Nike. They redid it. They made it legal to skate there. They redid all the ledges, metal ledge and everything. But, I mean, for me, I grew up skating there. It lost its luster, right? It was something about looking over your shoulder, waiting for the cops to come. Like there's something running from the cops. I'd go run down the street, skate down the street, and then come back an hour later. Like there was some... Nowadays, it's like the metal ledge doesn't... Like
There was an element about it. I mean, I definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that point where you're just like, fuck, you have to look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, constantly be thinking about that.
I like
you know?
that though, because
It
that made
kinda
it
keeps
that,
you on your point. Too,
yeah,
to a
there was
degree.
something like alluring about that. Like you're, you know, it's like
Yeah.
cool. We're all skating together, but there's this like, I mean, cops raided the place. You know, probably saying we love every angle. Roddy riding down the stairs. It's just blah blah blah.
Oh,
40
yeah.
skaters lined up in the fucking curb, like tickets, like
Yeah, we get the footage. The
So
footage,
fun.
The footage feels like, I don't even know, more.
raw.
Yeah, this
The vibe.
You accomplished something even harder than just the skating.
Right.
Was just like actually like avoiding the cops.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, cops roll through and you wave at them. Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
how you doing, man?
good.
Trying this thing on the stage or manual trick. You may see it in my Instagram. Follow
But then
me.
one of those cops might be a skater now. So.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
Oh,
are.
dude, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's
Dude,
the thrill of the hunt. I
Yes.
should say,
For sure.
I thought it was amazing that Kalis went back and Tre flipped the can again.
Oh, incredible.
Incredible, dude.
20 years later, almost to the like. It was very close to like the same month.
Really?
that he did it before. Yeah, it was towards the end of 2019, as best I can remember, and yeah, I remember him calling me. He's like, "Hey, dude, I Tre flipped the can."
Wow.
And I was like, "What, really?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll send you the footage." And he like sent me a little, you know, he recorded it off the VX or whatever and sent
Yeah.
it to me. I was like, "Dude, that's amazing."
It's incredible.
so
Like it's very special to do that, you know.
Dude,
Oh,
I
did
think
And
he-
as well, I mean, he did it.
He did it off the
Really-
same.
He did it
same
really
bump,
good.
Same everything or different?
No, because
different-
Love was no longer there.
Ah, okay.
same
okay.
same bump. The tiles are the exact same size as they were at Love.
At Muni.
yeah.
It's same can,
Yeah.
same everything,
Okay.
but just across the street. Yeah.
Wow.
20
Damn,
years
were you
later.
bummed you weren't there to shoot a photo of that?
Hella bummed.
Yeah. I was gonna say, damn, that would have been
Like,
sick.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Dude, I got so much love for Kalis. To me, he's a hero for me in skateboarding, but like he's like king of the plaza. You know what I mean? Like I remember going to the J-Quan in like 2015. That dude was there every Sunday for like a couple years, I feel
At
like.
least.
He just has so much love and heart for skateboarding, man. It's just
Big time.
huge fan of that dude.
Definitely. And like you're saying, the plaza, like he really,
Yeah.
that's something that he really enjoyed skating.
Embraced.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's the type of dude you see him do a fakey flip, and you're like,
Yeah, it's so sick.
He
Tray
puts, He
flip.
puts that effort. That's damn
Tray flip,
true.
of course.
Yeah,
but
tray
I'm thinking of that actual. There's a line at the
Seaport Legends.
Seaport.
Yeah.
He does this fakey flip. You know what I'm talking about?
I
He does
do.
a fakey flip that's like no other fakey flip I've
Yeah.
seen before or since.
But
It's
that's how he does.
fucking
Yeah, that's how he does
crazy.
tray flips.
Yeah.
Like he gets.
I'm just
like,
saying he's the best tray flipper, but I mean he's got other shit.
Well,
that
the way
gets
he
me hyped,
skates,
you know?
there's like effort put into it,
That's
and
what
it
it
shows, and it's like sick, you know? Cause
Yes.
he'll see someone, you know, like how people do the like kind of dog piss like tray flips.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like it just drives him crazy because he's just. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it.
Well, we come
but
from a
it's just-
different era.
Yeah, and he's just like, no, that shit's gotta like come up to your feet. It's gotta
Right.
like slap you on the bottom of the foot, and like,
No, it's so true. He puts a lot of power and effort into it, and he lands it smoothly at the same time.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But the plaza skating thing is he's very. I mean, he's like such a fan of skateboarding. I mean, he's a skate rat still
Right.
to this day.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, I moved to San Diego. I'm like, dude, come down here, shoot some photos. You know what I mean? There's hella spots. And he's like, I don't want to shoot none of the whack stuff out there. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's just like, no. He's like, it matters where you skate. And I remember thinking, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because out of his entire career, like, we're talking about love, and we're talking about, you know what I mean? Like, we're
100%.
talking
Pier 7, he's
Bro.
skated there a
yeah,
bunch.
yeah. And that's why Jaquan, he saw that it was like a special spot where people gathered, and it's
Yeah.
like there's, you know, so and so did this on that, and it's like special where it's not like just this random thing in some industrial plaza nowhere.
Right,
Like
right.
it's something that you can identify with as a skateboarder, and that's what's so special about like Love.
Yeah.
You know, all the lines and everything that people have done there, and that's why he, you know, held it down there, you know, so hard for so many years, because he knew that it was a special time in skating.
And also what it was, the camaraderie. It's also about skating with other skaters.
Yes.
And, you know, people come and go, and, you know, that's what it's.
No.
That's
So
what
wait, he was
thrive
doing
off of.
Jaquan Sundays before Jaquan Sundays?
It was, yes.
Oh yeah,
Before it was
well, this is like
trademarked. Yeah.
2015. They
Right?
popped off there. Like that's when
Yeah.
I was skating there a bunch.
Yeah.
The thing I loved about it, he would push people so hard to try tricks. He got me like I remember I fakey traded, but I didn't think that was possible. He's like, Kelly, you got that, dude. Try it.
I
And he-
just saw that footage pop up on my Instagram just
Dude,
the last couple days.
I
It's
would
gonna
have not.
pop up again now that we're talking about it.
yeah, it probably will.
I
Definitely.
would have not have done that if it wasn't for him. I swear. And that kind of like helped me. I don't know. I was skating really hard, and he helped me get back into that zone again.
That's dope.
That's
So
what
I got-
skaters do, you
Yeah.
know. It's like that. They push you. We push one another. You know,
You got
give
that?
everybody ideas.
You got that, my guy? You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have told you to do it, Kelly.
No, you would have not.
What do you
dude.
mean? I would have told. Come on, bro.
No, I remember it drive me crazy, because I'm like, dude, I want to go home, and he's just hanging out, like smoking a cigarette, like just like, nah, like we gotta, you know,
Yeah.
he's like the last dude there.
I love it.
And I'm like, all right.
Amazing.
What else is on the horizon? What's going on, dude? I mean, listen, it's 2021. What do we got? What do we got, bro?
More of the same.
More of the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not, you know, like I am thankful that I do a lot of commercial work.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like whether it is for Honeywell or State Farm or
Okay.
Ford or, you know, really, you know, a lot of like athletic apparel stuff and, you know, things like that.
Right.
And, you know, so I am thankful that I get to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right, right. Now, when you say commercials, are you talking about print ads? Or
Well-
they're filming a commercial and you're taking photos of...
No, it's just kind of an overarching term for like that kind of work.
Okay.
You know,
That's-
these
gotcha.
days, you know, it could be like, oh, well, we need like the giant things to put up in the airport or a billboard or
Right,
whatever it is. I mean,
okay.
because in general, not
Gotcha.
just skating, there aren't magazines as much.
Yes.
You know, but
Right.
there's a lot more need for photographs,
Right,
whether
right,
that's,
right.
you know, socially or whether that is
true.
that is for
That's
billboards
true.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of that kind of stuff. I still work for DC, thankfully.
Hell
I
yeah.
just was out skating with Wes yesterday.
Wes Kramer.
Wes Kramer.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, just, you know, and working on projects with him, and we've kind of got back into a cadence recently where it's like, you know, working on like special projects and doing, you know, because I've always enjoyed doing like bigger, kind of more like, not set up is a word, but just like produced kind of things.
Yeah,
I guess.
like a project.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to
Yeah.
work towards, right?
Yeah.
Like a shoe release or this or that. Or
Yeah,
whatever it may be.
So still that kind of stuff and a lot of
Okay.
commercial work and
Nice.
yeah. So and just using, you know, my time of laying in the gutter for the last 25
I
years.
love it, bro. I love it.
Yeah.
You've earned that.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I still lay
Well
in the gutter.
deserved.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah.
I know. You,
That's
you,
right.
You
Check
like
out
it
though.
still.
They
That's the
literally,
thing.
literally laying in the gutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, I did a job. I was for ASICS actually, about 3 or 4 months ago, and it was funny because they were like, "Oh, we want to see the city, and we want the person coming by," and I'm like, "Oh, like a skate photo," and they were like, "Yeah, I guess," you know. And they like wanted the ground to be wet, and like it was, you know, we were in LA, downtown LA, like from like 9 until like 5:30 in the morning, and the ground was like soaking wet, and I was literally laying in the gutter. Like I was afraid. I was like looking to make sure I didn't have any open wounds so I didn't get staph.
Right.
And I'm like, you know, maybe I haven't come that far. I'm getting
Yes.
paid way more than I used to, but it's still the same
But
exact
dude,
thing.
do you think a lot of other photographers probably wouldn't deal with something like that, right?
No, I mean they did, and you know, you get people to help you, like they'd keep putting Fernie pads down, like these
okay.
moving blankets, basically. But they were just soaked, and finally, I was like, I'm just gonna lay in it, like it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I've been there before, you know. So yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff, and shooting, skating, and
Nice.
you know, working with Andrew on his
Andrew
podcast.
Huberman, dude.
Yeah.
We need to listen. We're
yes.
gonna get him on the podcast,
You are,
bro,
bro. Yeah.
because I need to talk to this guy, man.
He is
Ever since he
amazing.
was on the Jankum thing, man, I became such a huge fan of that dude. And
He
I
is
kept
amazing.
watching his podcast, and he was on Rogan recently. And I'm like, we got to get him. Because he's a skate rat. He's a
He is.
skater. Grew up
I mean,
skating.
he grew up skating in Embarcadero.
I mean, it's insane. And he's such a wealth of knowledge on just the human body,
Definitely.
brain, stuff like that. I mean, he told me muscle memory isn't a thing. Fucking been lied to my whole life.
I just got back from Japan. I was telling him, I was like, man, I'm so jet lagged right now. He's like, oh, dude, Andrew's got a whole segment about jet
Yeah.
lag. Go listen.
He's got
to
an
it.
episode.
Yeah. I was
See?
like,
Jet lag,
He's
jet
gonna
lag
tell
and
you
shift
it's not
work.
real as well.
No, that's
not
real.
I'm just
Oh,
joking.
yeah.
I'm joking.
But you need light in your eyes in the morning
See?
and in the evening to reset your clock.
I love it. I want to talk. I want to
Wow.
talk skate with Andrew Huberman, man. I
Love
think
it.
it'd be a fucking incredible dude.
Yeah, no, he's amazing.
bro.
And it's
Knowledge.
awesome because he genuinely like. I mean, he's one of us. You know,
Right,
he's like,
right.
But he just so happens he's incredibly
He's
smart.
gnarly.
Yeah, he
When I'm
is,
listening
yeah.
to him on Rogan and shit like that in his own podcast, I'm like, wow. I don't even know if I'm cut out to even have a conversation with this guy. Like, what am I going to talk about?
You are it'll
know.
you know.
I know.
He,
He'll help
he
guide.
loves talking.
He'll help
skate.
guide us.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I think he could help skateboarders, you know, with the
Absolutely.
physiologically, the everything that goes into what our being it consists of,
Yeah.
you know, and what we can do to enhance that.
Yes.
You know, fucking great. Love that guy. Tell him I said hi.
I will.
Yeah,
You'll
please.
get to tell him yourself.
yeah.
I know.
Yes.
I know. As soon as I saw the J, I followed him on Instagram, followed his YouTube page. I all over the board.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Love it.
Big fan.
He'll be here soon enough.
I love it. I love it, bro. Playback. Have we covered everything, dude? I mean,
don't.
listen, we don't want to cover everything because obviously we want you to come back for a stop and chat one of
sure.
these days.
Okay.
I think it'd be amazing, you know, on a stop and chat. You don't have to have the physical things here, but have photos because, like, you know, we touched on the Koston, the Kalis, the Stevie. It'd be so amazing to get more behind the scenes of different photos.
Yeah, no,
that
I-
you were,
Yeah.
you know, really hyped on and stuff.
It's weird that I mean, it's funny because like I'll post something on Instagram and people are like, "How do you remember that?" And I'm like, I genuinely do. Like, it's the weirdest thing. So I do remember a lot of the, like,
Dude.
because photographs kind of take you back to that time when you're
100%.
skating.
For sure.
You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
God.
Like even your front heel over the couch. Like I remember we had breakfast that
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
And we were there with Weston and like.
Oh, over the bump, over
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Dude,
orange couch.
you definitely in that fucking short amount of time got some really great photos of me, bro.
That's what I like to
We
hear.
shot a lot
Yeah.
of stuff, dude.
Seriously,
Yeah,
dude. No, I mean, and thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Seriously, like,
You did
man,
the hard part.
I
Yeah, the front heel was
Apparently.
gnarly.
That was a good. That was a good bump. I never
That
skated
was.
it, but I
That
always
was.
wanted to skate.
Yeah.
It looked hard to skate though, huh? It's big and
mellow.
I like them big
You
bumps,
like-
little
Yeah.
bumps, all the bumps. I
Yeah.
was
Like
very,
all the bumps.
very keen on those. But damn, remembering the details as far as like, you know, well, we had breakfast that morning. And
Right.
Well, it's just I don't know what it is about seeing photographs. It's like, oh, I remember like I just remember everything about that
Right.
day. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
Love
like
it.
including like how I
What
shot
happened,
it. And
yeah.
like
Well,
yeah.
this is why I always say like filmer, photographer, you know, team manager, behind the scenes of skateboarding are my favorite episodes because all the stories you just told about Kalis doing the tray flip over the thing, like Kalis isn't going to tell that story. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's going to tell. He's going to talk about going to do the tray. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're getting a whole different look
Yes.
Yeah.
at these tricks. You know, and the stop and chats are rad too because it hasn't been. We haven't failed once when we pull up a clip and the skater instantly gets brought back to that moment
Yeah.
and it's like, oh shit, yeah. Dude, that day was crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it
Totally.
It's fascinating and I love it.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's fun. It's fun
Yeah,
for me
9
to
out of
remember
10,
all
they
that
remember it for sure.
9 out of 10,
Yeah.
right? 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be like, nothing really happened that day.
Do you think
Okay.
you also remembered this stuff a lot too because you were big fans of the skaters that you were going out with?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
tr-
I was always I consider myself extremely lucky that like I've been able to go out with people that I'm like stoked on, you know, shooting.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like I never, you know, like and I was always like with Girl, you know, it was like dope with DC. It's been amazing. Mad Circle was always like a good I was always like luckily around like a good cruise of dudes that were like an iconic ended up being, you know, very memorable
Yeah.
skaters, you know.
yeah.
That's an
And-
important combo, dude. The skaters and the photographers. It's
Yeah.
very Good.
Right.
So I
summer.
mean,
Yeah.
it's fun too for like Josh and I to still be doing it like this many years later, and like
Yeah.
so it's like I consider myself pretty lucky to be
yeah.
to be doing that.
Especially
Well,
with one company, I'm telling you, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow. I mean, it it affords me the ability to. I mean, I'm thankful for the opportunity to still be in skating,
Right.
and to still be a part of this, of all of us. You know what I mean? It's like dope to be a part of this. I mean, I'm really thankful to have never left, and my tenure to have been for as long as it is.
Yeah.
And it affords me that ability, because no matter what I end up shooting, no matter how like famous someone may be or whatever they do, it still doesn't mean as much to me as like the tray flip or the back nose blunt.
Great.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like as a
yeah.
skater, you're like, that means more to me. And like no matter how much I may get paid or whatever that is, it's still just like something that someone flips past. Whereas a skate photo, that's, you remember that. You remember seeing it on the cover of Transworld, and like people tore that out and put it in their locker or put it on their book. It like means so much more to people, and that's what's so special to me about photographing skating, for this long.
Well, thank you for doing
that.
all of that,
Yeah.
because it made me fall in love with skating even more, man. All the photos you took, so thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, even like I said, I went on skating yesterday and got a couple photos. It's like,
Hell yeah.
you driving home, you're like, sick, that was fun. We were skating a spot. It seemed like I was like, oh, we're getting kicked out of here.
Yeah.
And it's as I get older, I'm like, oh, this seems sketchy, but it's like fun. You just dive into it and like,
Yeah.
it's
I love
sick.
the older we get, the cops are like, "How old are you? The fuck you doing in
what
here?
you out here?
You know?"
The fuck
No,
you
I'm
doing?
always the first one. I'm like, let me go talk to him.
Yeah. Here
I
comes
got
here comes the old dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
Let me
buddy.
explain what we're doing.
Yeah.
here.
No, but it's the same thing. Like Ty would do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Cops come. Ty was the first one
Yeah.
to start walking over there, try to
Yeah.
set the mood.
Yeah,
I guess.
kids tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little secret.
And be cool.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Tell the truth when you're
the
there.
main thing.
No, cops are used to people lying to them all day, every day. So when you're like, yeah, we're skateboarding here. I work for DC. We're doing this. And they're like, oh, okay. Like
It's almost like a shock to them.
Yeah.
They're
No,
like,
they're
whoa,
like-
well, you're not lying to us.
telling us the truth.
Wow.
You don't have
and you
some-
have a sack of weed on you. Okay, well, I get it. Okay, cool. Well, you carry on,
Which is legal these days.
This is true. This
Yeah,
is true.
yeah.
Which
Where
I-
we are, it is
Let's not
legal.
get it twisted
is
here.
legal.
yeah.
It is
Which,
legal
I
in
mean, I no
California.
longer have that, but
Well,
You don't
listen.
indulge anymore.
I don't. No.
Well, maybe the
I
kids.
think
I've
we
done
spoke
more
on
than my
that.
fair share. Yeah.
You indulge quite a bit.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe the
Dubs
kids.
and Blaze over here.
Yes.
Maybe the kids have a little bag on them. No big deal.
Possibly. Which is why I go talk to the cops
Yeah,
first.
yeah, exactly.
Because I do not.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
The responsible guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you guys are good.
I love it, dude. I
Yep.
love it, man.
Absolutely.
Playback. Can we give you some parting gifts to take home? We don't have much here, but
No,
we
I got
have a
gifts
couple
for you
things.
guys.
What?
I got your front nose.
No, you don't.
I do. I swear to God. You've been talking about it the whole time. Here.
I've been talking about it
Should I
like.
get it? Here, let me get it.
I
Yeah.
love it, dude.
Where's he going? He's getting my front
I got
nose.
something for you.
Oh my god. I was just joking, man. But listen, I'll have them on my website, chrisroberts.com. I'm gonna sign them.
Oh,
Oh, what does he got?
what?
He's got one
got
for
one.
Kelly.
He's
Got one for Dubs and the
Look at
crowd.
that. We
man.
all get something
You
special.
gave all of us my front nose.
Yeah.
Man. That's amazing, bro.
How did you
Could you
know?
imagine?
It's hidden now.
Let's see.
Should we do this
I
now?
mean,
Should
yeah,
we-
No, you
we'll
just
do
pulled
this,
it out.
bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Sorry, yours is
on.
sealed.
Let me see here. Hey, there.
So there it is.
1998.
That
God
wasn't
damn.
98.
How old am I? Shit.
It turns out we all are
Oh,
not the same
I
age.
used to like this. Go ahead. Which one did you get, Kelly? You got my front nose? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I got a front nose.
Yeah, you got a
dude.
different front nose.
Which one?
Dude, this is on a DC tour
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
On the one,
2004.
dude, Keenan had the switch crook photo on that,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Wow, dude,
Our-
thank you.
The other photo we shot together was kind of similar to that. Switch
Yes.
front nose
Yep.
on the thing. I don't remember if that ever came out. I don't know what it was, but
I'll find that slide one day.
I won. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dubs, which one? Oh,
Oh, we were speaking on
The
this
switch.
with Red.
Yep, yep.
The front side
front
heel.
high, front
Yeah.
heel.
Yeah, dude.
That photo's so
Yeah.
sick.
Dude, thank
man.
you.
What about mine,
That's
Raj?
awesome.
Damn.
What about mine?
Okay.
That's sick, dude.
Now, I always wondered this, and I never really asked you, but I'm kind of transparent. What is
A little bit.
Yeah, what is that happenstance, or did you
So
happen
good.
to like do something to make that
I
happen?
did something.
Okay, what do
So
we
more
wanna-
camera class.
Please, I
here
know.
on the
I've
9
always
Club.
wondered. I've never had a chance to ask you.
So there's a
101.
few ways to shoot photos at night.
Okay.
One, I mean, there's a million different ways, but I tended to do it 2 different ways. That one is the camera is stationary on a tripod,
Yes.
and you leave the shutter open, which is why there's streaks. Those
Ah,
are cars
over there.
going by
Okay.
in the
Yep.
street.
Yep.
And the flash kind of paints you onto the film.
The
And-
flash paints. Okay. Oh, so the
So it's
shutter's
a-
open. Boom. Flash
so it's a
goes.
mixture.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mixture of the ambient light coming through, which is why you're partially see-through.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Okay.
So otherwise, I could have, if I had the camera in my hand and you move, that's when you get like the streaks of light, and you're sharper usually because the ambient light, unless there's like a bright light behind you, which will erase you.
Oh.
So when you're using film, you have to be careful. I mean, even when you're using a digital camera,
sure.
although it's easy to just look at your camera and be like, I need to move. With film, you didn't have that luxury. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Right.
So that's why I kind of framed you against a darker spot in the building so that you were less
Yeah.
transparent.
Oh.
Had I framed you in front of the sky, you would be more transparent.
I don't remember if I landed this, but we'll say we'll say.
We'll say you did.
I think you did the same thing with me doing a frontside nose slide
I
in
did.
the
and I
valley.
found it
Yeah,
recently.
and you
yeah,
posted
scanned-
it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So sick.
And he
Yeah.
was hella
sick.
transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super sick.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would definitely.
That was I left the
I
shutter
didn't.
open.
I did not remember that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Really?
You're like, is that me?
Yeah,
Isn't it funny? We all we forget shit.
Fortunately, I
because
shot
it was
a
just
lot
me
of
and
photos.
it was just me and Blabac that went out that day. We were fucking around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we
We did a lot of that.
We did a lot of that.
Yeah.
That's dope, dude.
And I mean, I'm thankful that I shot so much of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, can we I want to
Because
try
you're like
this thing.
testing it and seeing,
Yeah, just trying
how
to
it'll
figure
work.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about being on top of a front nose, Dubs.
You and
know what I'm saying?
You were
Yeah,
definitely
man.
on top of that
Dude,
one.
on this front nose, I
You're a
remember.
you're a little sandbagged on there.
Hell
Kelly.
no, I'm not. I'm
You're a
more
little
erect
sandbagged,
than you
huh?
are, dog. No, but I remember
Okay.
I did big spin out of that. I don't know if.
You did. That was out of a sequence.
Yeah, really? So you have
But
a
I
sequence?
I do.
What?
Yeah.
It.
No
Yeah.
way.
But I just figured that,
No, totally.
Well, I did nollie heel big spin out of this.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I totally forgot I did this. Like,
See
that
how that happens?
It's so
Yeah.
funny, dude.
Wow.
I'll see footage of myself and I'm like, dude, I got the most embarrassing story, dude. I've told it a bunch of times, but basically I was filming for some video, I forget. Hit up Ty because I needed a clip. I'm like, hey, Ty, I did a 5-0 heel flip shove out on the beach, dude. Do you still have that clip? I want to use it for, and he's like, that was in Yeah Right. And I was like, oh, dude, my bad, Ty. Dude.
Bye.
Okay, I gotta go. Pretend this never happened. But it's so embarrassing, It's like shit like that. You're like, you forget.
He's like, dude, you used that, bro.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah,
wow.
bro.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you.
bro.
Fuck yeah.
Wow. I gotta get this framed now, dude.
I'm definitely getting this shit.
I mean, if
getting
you want,
a
I'll
frame.
make you a gigantic 30
Oh.
by 40.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Put that on your living room wall.
I'm putting it right back here, Dubs. I'm getting rid of this neon sign, dude.
Get rid of that 9 Club
Yeah,
sign.
bro.
Here, let me help you with that.
And also, I'm honored that you shot my my checkout in
Checkout.
Transworld.
Yes.
So thank you for
You're
that.
very
too.
welcome. Yeah, no, thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a favor he did for you, Kelly.
Well, I was actually in the middle of a session with PJ and Ryan Gallant, so I just snuck in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple name drops, but listen. Hey, Kelly, will you do a favor for me and Blabac?
Thank
Will
you,
you
Mike.
go please get him a couple 9
So
Club
sick.
things? Like I said, we don't have much here. We're kind of running low on inventory, but we'd love to just give you a couple things.
Thank you.
to take home with you as a
Yeah, no.
parting gift. And again, come back again and again, dude, because I
Bro.
love the stories
This was great.
behind the photos.
Thank you.
I love it, man.
Yeah, no,
Just
I mean,
like this
dude, pick out,
here.
I mean, however you want to do it, but
Dude,
pick out
I mean, we'll
photos
pick
and-
stuff. If you
yeah.
have stuff too that has great stories,
That's a good idea, too.
we love it, man. So let me,
Seriously,
I
bro.
don't want to bend this. But Is this available on BlaybackShop.com?
I mean, maybe it will be.
Okay.
I think this probably
If
should
you plug it every episode,
Okay.
I'll put that shit
I
up
will
there.
plug it. I don't know if you listen. We
I don't know
haven't
if
hung
I-
out for a long time, but I will plug that shit every episode. I'll trust me.
We are plugging.
You want to do
this.
an ad read every
Ad read. I'll
every for
I'll-
Playback Shop? I'll be
I'm
the
gonna
first
be
thing in the queue.
showing them this.
Bro, these
every
are going up in the
This
queue.
whole
dude.
plug will be on loop.
But only if he gets a percentage of it.
I don't give a fuck. No, I just want people to have my shit. Maybe 10%.
Okay.
Listen, Playback, dude, you are the man. Thank you so
Thank you.
much
Yeah,
for
no,
coming
thank you guys
by
for
and
having me.
hanging out with us, dude. It was so
Yeah, no.
fucking fun. I
Yes.
love it, man. Don't know if you're a big candle guy, but we have candles here.
That's amazing.
I used to drink.
What do they smell like?
I still do. This is pamplemousse. I don't know if you're a big.
I don't know if they
can smell
smelled
it.
like bushing.
That's no I don't know if you're a LaCroix fan, but pamplemousse,
Yeah, no,
grapefruit.
grapefruit. Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
There's a
I know what
grapefruit
pamplemousse is.
pamplemousse.
Yeah.
And of course, you were drinking out of it today. We're going to give you
Yes.
a fresh one. The
Thank
Switch
you.
Flip Manny
Yep.
on the courthouse
Perfect.
stage.
Thank you.
Go wrong with that.
Yep.
And last but not least, it is summertime. You got to stay hydrated.
Definitely.
Scott Kane company.
No way.
Yeah, he does a water bottle company named Highland Peak. We did a collab with him. Beautiful.
That is amazing.
Legend, Scott Kane.
Yeah.
Yes, bro.
Sick,
It'd
dude.
be
Thank
good-
you.
That home for you.
Good for your skate sessions and your car shooting sessions and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All
There
that
you go.
stuff.
All of
You
that.
can hang it from
You
your
gotta
little.
stay
You
hydrated.
gotta
Yeah.
stay hydrated. Yes.
From your
Any
little
of those
belt loop.
moments, definitely.
Yeah, man. But this has been great, dude. Thank you
Yeah.
again for coming
Yeah, no,
on,
thank you.
Mike, and come back anytime. Like I said, dude, we'd love to have you back. I can't get enough of the stories.
Man.
I love
So
them.
There's
good.
more stories too. So
There may be a
Exactly.
few.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few. And by the time from now till you come back, I'm sure there'll be stuff in between as well. New
I may
stuff.
remember a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there'll be new stuff. I don't know.
There has to be new stuff. Is Ken Block doing anything? He's doing any more donuts around town or something? Like
I mean,
what?
usually I'm not allowed to tell anyone when he is.
Oh.
So. But maybe. I don't know.
Do you
Yeah.
think Ken Block would come on the 9 Club? Do you think?
Probably.
Because that guy seems like he's very busy.
I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean,
He is, but he would be amazing, actually.
I think it would be awesome.
I think he would
His
be
immediate
phenomenal.
his immediate response would be like, "Why do they want me?" Which was Andrew's. I mean,
Really?
that's why Andrew wanted me to come on with. He's like, "Dude, will you come on with me?" I'm like, "I mean, I guess, but like,
That's not how we do it.
that's what he
Yeah.
was saying." He said, and I'm like,
Huberman.
"You could probably have your own episode.
Yeah.
You're pretty gnarly, dude."
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're good.
I think
Bro.
Ken Block could definitely like. I don't know because he helped shape me as
DC.
a DC
Yeah.
me
Ken
as a
Block would
skateboarder.
kill it, bro.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, dude.
Straight up.
So
And we
I'll
get a
have
whole-
to ask him for you.
please,
Yeah.
thank you.
And we get a whole new little audience in here. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
This is
Straight
true.
Little
up.
car audience.
Mm-hmm.
Sell prints for
You-
$300.
Get,
Ken
get
Block.
neuroscience.
Yeah, we'll just
Yeah.
we'll grab-
Automotive crowd.
Dude, we'll get.
Yeah.
We're going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going for it,
Yep.
dude. You know?
My goodness.
Buckle
Print-
up, kids.
Yeah,
Nice,
buckle
Raj.
up, Raj.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a fun ride. But please, yeah, tell everybody we said hello.
Yes.
Huberman, we'll see him soon, hopefully.
Yes.
He'll be on the show. Be amazing. Can't wait for that. Ken Block, tell him what's up, dude. Tell him
Yeah.
what's
I
up,
will.
bro.
Come on, Ken.
Listen,
Come
we
on,
just
bro.
love to talk to people.
I
you
know.
and who
I
do
can
cool
tell.
shit.
Yeah.
You know.
This is amazing. Thank
Bro,
you.
thank
And he
you.
helped shape skateboarding through, obviously building DC. So it's a big impact in skateboarding. So why
Hell-
wouldn't we want to hear that
Hell
story?
yeah,
100%.
You know,
1,000.
1,000.
1,000.
Straight
bro.
up.
All right. What else should we talk?